Listen to HOJO Radio.
We toast them crisp, we toast them light. You can tell by the taste we toast them. They're a tasty treat, so good to eat. Delicious and light from toasting. Toasted.
And you know what? We like them.
21st Precinct, Sergeant Klein. In the basement where? 340? Who shot him? Who? Oh. Is he dead? He's not dead. Who's there? Sergeant Burns there?
You are in the muster room at the 21st Precinct, the nerve center. A call is coming through. You will follow the action taken pursuant to that call from this minute until the final report is written in the 124 room at the 21st Precinct.
All right, I'll send an ambulance. Emergency squad for what? Who said so? Okay, tell them I'll call CB to send the ESB car. Yeah, right away. Right away.
'21st Precinct. It's just lines on a map of the city of New York. Most of the 173,000 people wedged into the 9/10 of a square mile between 5th Avenue and the East River wouldn't know if you asked them that they lived or worked in the 21st. Whether they know it or not, the security of their persons, their homes, and their property is my job. My job and the job of the 160 patrolmen, 11 sergeants, and 4 lieutenants of whom I'm the boss. My name is Kennelly, Frank Kennelly. I'm captain in command of the 21st.
What makes a city? Not buildings, not subways, not business. People make a city. From dawn to midnight, from midnight to dawn, the rich and the poor and the good and the bad pour their lives together and stir up the city, as in the 21st, even on a quiet night.
I was working my 6 p.m. to 8 a.m. tour. At 10, after I had finished reading and signing the reports and communications that had accumulated, I investigated 2 minor complaints about conditions in the precinct that had been brought to my attention. At midnight, I turned out the platoon for the late tour and went on patrol until shortly after 2 a.m. Then I returned to the station house where Lieutenant Gorman, as desk officer, and Sergeant Klein were on duty in the muster room. I went around behind the desk to sign an entry in the blotter stating that I had completed patrol and returned to the precinct house.
Thank you, Captain.
Yeah?
There's some coffee hot if you want it.
Well, not a bad idea. What's doing?
Nothing much, Captain. The hack driver turned in a woman's purse he found in the back of the cab. It had $62.08 in it, that's all.
Any identification in it?
No, sir. Just the money in a small change purse, compact, a handkerchief, and a pack of cigarettes. Nothing else. She thought he was a big hero.
All right, 29.
I told him you guys are supposed to look in the back seat of your hacks every time you discharge a passenger. Next time you get sent down to the hack bureau on a violation.
Well, I'll get that coffee.
Yes, sir.
No, Sergeant.
Oh, yes, sir.
All right, go ahead. Take the call.
Yes, sir.
21st Precinct, Sergeant Klein. All right, 15. You take your meal period now. All right. Okay? Yes, sir, Captain.
I had a communication from the Telegraph Bureau. They're interested in the QD-76 report dated last week. Car jumped the curb and knocked over a call box on Park Avenue. The driver didn't answer the summons in court, and they want to issue a warrant. Will you get it out?
Yes, sir, but can I wait a few minutes?
What's the trouble?
I got a man on post 6 minutes late ringing in.
Who's that?
Patrolman Bevan, post number 4, Captain.
All right, go ahead.
Yes, sir.
When did he ring in last?
142, Captain, from box number 23, on time to the minute.
Communications Bureau, Patrolman Thomas.
This is Sergeant Klein, 21st Precinct.
Yes, sir.
Have 604 to call the 21st.
604, yes, sir.
He's not taking his meal, is he?
No, sir, he's not due for his meal until 3:30. 3:30 to 4. He's 7 minutes late now.
What's the trouble?
Patrolman Bevan, post number 4. He's 7 minutes late ringing in.
No kidding. He's been a good man, Captain. One of the best hooks we got in here in that last bunch.
Yes, I know.
Did he ring in on time earlier?
Right on time. 21st Precinct, Sergeant Klein.
Box 31, Sergeant Burns.
Oh, hello. It's Sergeant Burns. Listen, right over to post number 4 and see if you can locate Bevan. He's 8 minutes late ringing in.
Bevan?
Yeah.
I rode by there about 25 minutes ago. I saw him on post.
Did you stop and talk to him?
Yeah? You didn't get many calls, did you?
No, not a thing from here.
Okay, I'll get back to you.
Well, he said he rode by there about 20 or 25 minutes ago and saw him.
Is he riding over there now?
Yes, sir.
He's a good kid, that Bevan.
Father was a lieutenant in Brooklyn East Borough headquarters. Retired a year or so ago. Did you know him, Captain?
No. You get out that QD-76, Sergeant.
Yes, sir. Right away. His sugar's in the drawer, Captain.
21st Precinct, Sergeant Klein. For what? Well, who is it that stabbed? Who? Speak into the phone.
I went into the 124 room and had a
What's
cup of
the
coffee.
address?
Patrolman Ryan, the clerical man,
Where?
called to my attention an MV-104A report concerning an accident on Franklin D. Roosevelt Drive along the East River, which had occurred during the day tour. A passenger in one of the cars involved had died of injuries in Mount Sinai Hospital at 1:50 a.m. I instructed him to have the desk officer notify the Communications Bureau and the Manhattan East Motor Vehicle Homicide Squad. I went back to my office to read and sign more reports to be sent to the 6th Division Headquarters, 160 East 35th Street. At 2:35 a.m., Sergeant Klein walked across the muster room and stuck his head in the open door of my office.
Captain.
Come in.
Sergeant Burns just rang in.
Yes?
He's been over every inch of post number 4. He can't find any sign of Bevan.
Where'd he look? Just on the street?
So far, Captain, that's all he had time for.
All right, come on. Call the sector car from over there.
Yes.
Have him drop his recorder on post number 4 and bring the car by here for me.
Yes.
It's beginning not to make sense, Captain. No sense at all.
Communications Bureau, Patrolman Thomas.
Sergeant Klein, 21st Precinct. Have 608 call the 21st, will you?
Yes, sir, 608, right away.
All right, let's take a look at the map, Sergeant.
That's a pretty quiet post normally, Captain.
Yeah.
There's not much open around there this time of night. 3 or 4 bars and grills, maybe.
An all-night luncheonette here.
There's another luncheonette here. It's open all night.
That's real crazy, the whole thing.
What time was Bevan due to ring in last?
2:12, Captain. He's almost a half hour late.
I stood behind the desk for a few minutes and watched as 2 robbery, assault, and Section 1897 suspects were brought down by Lieutenant Matt King, commander of the 21st Detective Squad, for booking. The sector car came and Patrolman Farrell drove me to post number 4. We located Sergeant Burns. He already had his operator, Patrolman Mercado, and Patrolman Eisman on the job, making a building-by-building search for Patrolman Bevan. Post number 4 consists of 3 square blocks between 1st and 2nd Avenues. As in many parts of New York, the complexion of the streets changed from building to building. An old law tenement might be flanked by a fine apartment house on one side and a garage on the other. We shook every door, went in every basement, inspected every courtyard, and climbed to every roof. In this, we had assistance from the men on adjacent posts, from the men on the ESD car patrolling the district, and from Lieutenant King and 2 of his detectives of the 21st Squad. By 3:18 a.m., there was still no sign of Patrolman Bevan.
Beats me, Captain. Just beats the living daylights out of me.
Yeah?
Bevan was the kind of a guy that...
Wait a minute. There's somebody walking.
Where, Captain?
Right
Oh,
there.
yeah. Hey, mister. Mister, wait a minute.
We want to talk to you.
Oh, no. Have you been around here for the last hour?
Look, officer, all I had was 2 beers. That's all, just 2 beers. You can't kill a man over 2 beers, can you?
What's your name?
My name is Joseph Lance Baldwin Jr. Jr. because I was named after my father who had the same name, only senior. 2 beers, that's all.
Look, have you seen a policeman around here tonight?
A policeman? Yeah, I've seen a cop around here.
When?
Right now, him. He's a cop. And, oh, look, the sergeant, too. 2 beers, Sergeant. You got my word of honor. My scout's honor.
Where do you live?
Joseph Lance Baldwin Jr. 2 beers.
No. You told us your name. Where do you live?
There, right there. I almost made it, too, didn't I? Almost. Listen, you won't tell Alma. Please don't tell Alma.
All right, come along.
Take me to jail, lock me up, and throw the 2 beers away, but don't tell Alma.
Come along.
That's all I had. You can ask anybody.
Is this the house?
Yeah, this is it. 728. 728. Apartment 6D. You're not going to tell Alma.
Got your keys?
I think so. I think I got my keys, but please don't tell Alma.
We let you tell her yourself. You make the stand?
Oh, yeah, sure. Thank you very much. Well, Good night, gentlemen.
Good night.
It was a pleasure to have found with you.
Oh, there's Matt King.
Captain,
Hello, Matt.
we found him, Captain.
Where?
The next block in the basement of a tenement, 740. He was shot.
How bad?
He's not dead, but it's pretty bad. Through the jaw and neck on the right side.
Is he conscious?
No, he lost a lot of blood. Even if he was conscious, I don't think he'd be able to talk. That's the ambulance, I guess.
Who shot him? You have any idea?
Yes, sir.
Who?
It looks like he shot himself.
Lieutenant King drove us around to the house. It was an old law tenement building. The ambulance and the sector car were parked in front. It was 3:31 a.m. There was no crowd on the sidewalk, but tenants in night clothes were beginning to stick their heads out of the front windows. The first floor above the street was occupied by two business establishments, a beauty parlor and a radio repair shop. An iron gate and fence separated the basement stairs from the sidewalk. We went down.
Go ahead, Captain. The basement's been vacant for about a year.
Yeah.
Be right with you, Captain.
Whitey.
All right, be careful now. Yeah. Roll him on the stretcher. Just roll him on. All right, get his feet there.
Okay.
I got them. Easy now. Easy.
Okay.
All right, thanks. Thanks a lot.
Doctor, I'm Captain Kennelly.
Captain?
How does it look?
It went through the maxillary bone of the jaw, Captain. On the way, it probably hit a vein in the neck. Lost a lot of blood.
How is he?
Pretty bad.
Did he shoot himself?
The gun was fired at very close range, Captain. Not farther than this. His face and head are full of powder marks.
I see.
All right, easy with him.
All right, lift together now.
Yeah.
Come on, lift. This way. Watch it. You've got very little clearance there.
Easy, easy.
What's the turn there? That's it.
Pull that back end hard going up. Captain.
Yes, Matt?
Whitey and Novak have been talking to the tenants.
Yes?
They can't find anybody who heard the shot. The next floor up, the stores, and the flats don't start until the second floor.
Only one shot? Are you sure?
That's all that was fired from a service gun, Captain.
Is it possible he chased someone down here? Is it possible they had a gun and shot him?
Yes, sir, it's possible.
But not likely.
No, sir. That shot was fired at very close range. There isn't any sign of another person being down here.
Is that his flashlight there?
Yeah, we're leaving it lay there for a while till we get some measurements.
Was it turned on?
It was on, Captain. The switch, that is. The light was broken when it dropped, apparently. The gun was on the floor right near him. How old is he, Captain?
He's on his way, Captain. How old is he, Sergeant?
24, 25.
Married?
Yeah, he's married. A couple of young kids.
Do you have any personal problems you know of?
Not that I know of, Lieutenant.
He never spoke to me about any personal problems, man.
Well, he's got a big personal problem now.
Yes, he has. If he lives.
I waited around the scene for a few more minutes while Lieutenant King and his detectives continued their investigation, and Sergeant Burns talked to Lieutenant Gorman and got information for his UF-6. He ordered the sector cars to resume patrol and release the ESD car to its regular duties. From a call box on the corner, I gave instructions to the desk officer to notify the division command regarding the occurrence. He told me that according to Patrolman Bevan's records, he resided in Jackson Heights, Queens. His wife's name, Marion. I instructed Lieutenant Gorman to call CB with a request that the 110th Precinct notify Patrolman Bevan was wounded and in Bellevue Hospital. Otherwise, things were still quiet in the precinct. Patrolman Mercado was assigned to post number 4. Patrolman Farrell drove me downtown to Bellevue. I waited in the doctor's lounge for the surgeon. Dr. Lowfield?
Yes, I'm Dr. Lowfield.
Captain Kennelly, 21st Precinct. We met.
Oh, yes, Captain.
Well, what kind of a chance do you think he has?
Fair, Captain, just fair.
No better than that?
Well, we tried to probe around in there when he came into emergency. We couldn't reach the slug. It's pretty deep. There's no telling where it went after it penetrated or what organs it hit. I sent him up to be x-rayed. That'll locate the slug, and I'll go in after it.
Well, does it have to come out now?
The sooner the better, Captain.
What does surgery do to his chances, Doctor?
Well, he's apparently a very healthy young man, physically. Under the circumstances, his pulse and respiration are both better than can be expected.
I see. Does it appear to you that he shot himself?
The gun was fired at very close range.
Powder Mark?
That's right, yes, sir. He has a family, doesn't he?
Yes, his wife's been notified. She's on her way. Should be here any minute.
I'll have to talk to her and explain what I plan to do. I'll need her consent.
No, I don't think there'll be any trouble about that, Doctor.
Oh, excuse me.
Sure.
Dr. Lowfield? Yes. All right. Right there. Yes, we'll be out. Thank you. Mrs. Bevan. She's waiting out at the reception desk.
All right.
That way, Captain.
Thank you.
This is the worst part of my job, Captain.
Not the best part of mine.
That's her, I guess.
I'll talk to her. Mrs. Bevan?
Yes.
I'm Captain Kennelly.
How's Joe? Where is he?
Well, this is Dr. Lowfield.
He's dead, isn't he? That's what you're going to tell me.
No, he's not dead.
You sure? You're positive?
I just left him. You'd better sit down, Mrs. Bevan.
That's all right.
Please, sit down.
Yes, all right. It's awful. Really the worst thing in the world.
We're going to have to operate.
Right away?
Yes, right away.
If it's got to be done. I suppose it's all right, isn't it, Captain?
Yes, it has to be done.
All right.
Well?
Doctor,
Yeah?
can I see him? Before, I mean.
I don't think it would be wise, Mrs. Bevan.
Oh.
Well, I have to get up to him.
Yes, that would be a good idea.
I'll be back down as soon as possible. As soon as possible.
What was his name? Doctor who?
Dr. Lowfield.
He good?
Fine as they come.
That's good. Awful. Worst thing in the world. Joe would come home and tell me about notifications. He'd tell me how I'd have to find a mother or a wife or a father and tell them that someone was hurt or dead. He'd tell me how I'd always get a neighbor who knew the person he had to notify. And then the doorbell rang and there was Mrs. Beatty from next door and then Mr. Patrolman. I screamed. I really screamed. I don't know what it's like.
I know, Mrs. Bevan.
I knew what they were going to say. They were nice, very nice. But he didn't know anything. Just that he was shot and that he was here. He didn't know how or why or how bad or anything. Make it worse, the kids woke up. Or one of them, Jackie, I think. Mrs. Creedy's staying with them. But she's glad her husband isn't a cop. He's a salesman or something. Very nice people.
I'm sure they are.
Captain, you've got to tell me how bad is Joe. He's going to die. I don't know what I'd do.
He's in serious condition, Mrs. Bevan.
Serious? God.
Has he had any problems lately? Real problems?
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, have you had any financial difficulties? Any trouble at home?
Why?
Have you?
Well, we managed.
How about you and Joe?
What do you mean?
Well, you're getting along all right?
It's been fine. We're very happy. We have a nice home, 2 very beautiful children. We couldn't be happier.
I'm glad to hear that.
What do you want to know for?
Oh, we just have to know everything.
How did he get shot, Captain? Who did it, do you know?
Well, not exactly, Mrs. Bevan. We have an idea. We're trying to make sure. I waited with Mrs. Bevan for another 15 or 20 minutes until her mother arrived from Brooklyn. The operation had not yet been completed. I arrived back at the precinct house at 5:14 a.m. Muster room was quiet. Hello, Ken.
How is it, Captain?
Not too good. They hadn't brought him downstairs yet when I left.
That can be a rough operation, I guess.
Yeah. What's doing around here?
Nothing new, Captain.
All right, 31.
Hello, Captain.
Any messages, Sergeant?
Just division headquarters. The division captain wants you to call if there's any change in Bevan's condition. You needn't bother unless there's a change.
Okay.
Hasn't been a change, has it? No. Still critical. Beats me. Sure beats me. There's some hot coffee, Captain. No, thanks. 21st Precinct, Sergeant Klein.
Is Captain Kennelly there?
Who is this calling, please?
Dr. Lowfield at Bellevue. It's important.
Hold on, please. Captain, Dr. Lowfield at Bellevue.
All right, I'll take it here. Captain Kennelly.
Dr. Lowfield, Captain.
Yes, Doctor.
I finished the operation. I think he's going to be all right.
Good. That's good news.
The bullet was lodged in the buccinator muscle on the contralateral side of the mouth. I got it out. He has a fractured jawbone, which I set, and he lost a lot of blood. So I think he'll pull out of it all right.
Mm-hmm. He's not conscious, is he, Doctor?
No, he isn't. Listen, Captain.
Yes?
Do all your men carry a standard service revolver?
What do you mean?
Well, do you all carry 38s?
In uniform, the men are required to carry a 38 special. Why?
Is that what Patrolman Bevan had?
Yes, what's your point?
Well, the slug I took out of him was a little beat up, but it doesn't look like a 38 to me.
Doesn't it?
I'm no expert on guns, but, well, I used to fool around with them a little bit in the Army. It looks more like a 32 than a 38, Captain.
Where is this slug?
Well, I'm holding it, Captain. A detective from your precinct asked me to.
Lieutenant King?
Yes, I think Lieutenant King.
Well, hang on to it, Doctor. Just hang on to it.
I will. I intend to.
And thanks. Thanks a lot.
All right.
Bye, Doctor.
Any change in his condition, Captain?
There's been all kinds of changes. I'm going upstairs to see Lieutenant King. I went through the back room and upstairs to see Lieutenant Matt King. He telephoned to Dr. Lowfield. Detective Vitale was sent down to Bellevue to get the slug taken from Patrolman Bevan's jaw and take it to the police laboratory for a ballistics examination, along with Patrolman Bevan's service revolver. If the slug was fired from a .32 caliber gun, Patrolman Bevan could not have shot himself. By 8 a.m., there was no word on the ballistics examination. I turned out the platoon for the day tour, signed the blotter, left the precinct to go off duty. Ellen was awake and dressed when I got home. I talked with her while she had breakfast. She told me she was going to 34th Street because both Macy's and Gimbel's had advertised big linen sales. Ellen left the house and I went to bed. A hot sun flashed in under the shade. I don't know how long it took me to fall asleep. Maybe it only seemed long. Hello.
Captain?
Yes?
Matt King.
Oh, hello, Matt.
Will you sleep?
Yeah, that's all right. What time is it?
1 o'clock, 5 minutes after.
Oh, what have you got?
The slug they took out of Bevan.
Yes?
It wasn't a 32, it was a 38. The doctor was wrong.
Oh,
But it wasn't fired from Bevan's service revolver.
wasn't it?
Not according to the report.
Well, that's good news.
I'm calling from home, too, Captain. I'm going in now. Vitale called me, said there was a man picked up on suspicion of burglary in the 34th Precinct at 3:55 this morning. He was carrying a 38 Spanish make automatic.
Yeah?
One shot had been fired from it.
How does it look?
Well, I'm going up to the 34th to talk to this fella.
Look, if there's anything to it, Matt, would you let the man on TS know so he can call me?
I'll call you myself, Captain, as soon as I know anything.
I got up and got dressed. After I had some coffee, I took my car over to Fred's to be washed and greased. I returned home close to 4. Ellen was there. She told me Lieutenant King had phoned. I called him back. The man arrested in the 34th had a record of 5 arrests and 2 convictions for burglary. After questioning by Lieutenant King and Assistant District Attorney Louis Sullant, he admitted shooting Patrolman Bevan. He was brought into the 21st and booked on charges of assault and Section 1897. The gun in his possession at the time of his arrest was sent to the police laboratory for ballistics examination to corroborate his statement. That night, en route to a meeting of the Captain's Endowment Association at the 71st Regiment Armory in Manhattan, I stopped in at Bellevue Hospital.
Oh, hello, Captain.
How is he, Mrs. Bevan?
Better, much better.
Oh, that's good.
He's been propped up since about 4 o'clock this afternoon. Of course, he can't talk, and it's hard to feed him much, but the doctor says he's doing fine, just fine. I was going out now so he could get some sleep.
Well, then I won't stay. I was
That's all right. He's not asleep yet. I'm sure he's going to see you. It's this way.
You've been here since this morning?
Oh, yes. My mother was here for a while, and then she went out to the house to take care of the kids. Mrs. Creedy couldn't stay all day. She had children of her own, you know. It's in here. Let me stick my head in and make sure he's not asleep. Joe? He's still up. Come on in. Guess who's here, Joe? Captain Kennelly.
Hello, Joe.
The doctor told me it'd be at least a week before he'd be able to talk again. You know, it was real funny. The detectives from the precinct, what were their names, Joe? Kinney and Goldman? Kinney and Goldman, they came down here and wanted a statement from Joe on what happened. Do you know them, Captain?
Oh, yeah.
But it was really funny, wasn't it, Joe? He couldn't say a word to them. It was all right anyway, because they knew what happened from the man that shot him. Joe saw him come down a fire escape. He chased him. He chased him into that basement. Is that right, Joe? Well, he just robbed an apartment. Anyway, Joe followed him down into the basement. He was looking around for him with his flashlight, and the man was hiding behind a partition. And then when Joe got this close, he stopped. Joe fired one shot that didn't do any good. Isn't that right, Joe? Anyway, we're glad they got him. Very glad. We're glad Joe's going to be all right. I was worried this morning, Captain.
So was I.
I didn't know how things were going to turn out. I thought he was dead or dying. But look at him. Strong as an ox. Anxious.
Well, maybe it's a good thing to keep in mind, Mrs. Bevan, for all of us. Things can look a lot different than they really are.
'21st Precinct, Sergeant Klein. I can hear you. What's the trouble there? She all alone? How much is on the clock? $2 and what? Why can't you pay it? Where'd she lose it? Where? Doesn't she have any money? Nothing, huh? Well, all right. You're driving a hack. Drive her into the station house. We'll talk about it when you get here.
And so it goes. Around the clock, through the week, every day, every year. A police precinct in the city of New York is a flesh and blood merry-go-round. Anyone can catch the brass ring, or the brass ring can catch anyone.
21st Precinct, a factual account of the way the police work in the world's largest city, is presented with the official cooperation of the Patrolmen's Benevolent Association, an organization of more than 20,000 members of the Police Department, City of New York. Everett Sloan in the role of Captain Kennelly, Ken Lynch as Lieutenant King. Written and directed by Stanley Niss. Produced for CBS Radio by John Ives. Art Hanna speaking.
Four fathers went to trading post, 3 long days' journey to get powder and shot.
Today I drive my Pontiac to town in a few minutes to see the latest Paris gown.
Is this new Pontiac equipped with freewheeling? Naturally. Has it synchro silent second? Of course. Is the body by Fisher? Certainly. Well, apparently Pontiac has all the latest developments of automotive engineering. Absolutely. That is why Pontiac is today the chief of values.
HOJO Radio. We're your old-time radio headquarters. Stay tuned.
Calling all cars. The copyrighted program created by the Rio Grande Oil Company.
Calling all cars and all cars broadcast 109. Be on the lookout for that.
Thousands of boys and girls listening tonight proudly wear the Rio Grande Junior Police Badge. They have fingerprint outfits, police microscopes, sirens, G-Man guns, and other detective equipment. Rio Grande offers every boy and girl a complete police outfit absolutely free. Read all about these free gifts in the latest issue of the unique Calling All Cars News, out today. Ask for your free copy wherever Rio Grande cracked gasoline is sold. Rio Grande publicizes the heroic deeds of the police in their war on crime because more of the West's police and emergency cars are powered by Rio Grande cracked gasoline than any other brand. Leading cities and counties of the West specify the same Rio Grande cracked you get from your neighborhood dealer, because official records prove they get faster miles and more miles for the money. And now we present Chief James E. Davis of the Los Angeles Police Department. Chief Davis.
Good evening, friends. Our prisons are full of young men and women who made just one misstep off the straight and narrow path of honesty and were caught. It is a pity that the lives of these young people must be ruined merely because they made one mistake, but the law cannot make exceptions. The beautiful, young, blonde girl in tonight's case was a good girl at heart, but she got into bad company. A few years ago, Burma White was enjoying life. She went to parties and dances. She met a man she knew was the wrong kind. She should have hindered her association before the inevitable happened. She was drawn into a life of crime, fascinated by its cheap excitement and thrills. Soon, she was so deeply enmeshed with the underworld that she couldn't fight her way back to respectability. Today, Burma White is in prison. When a good girl gets mixed up with the wrong kind of men, they usually have to be separated by the police. So the moral of the story you will hear tonight is plain. Don't associate with those who try to beat the law. They can't succeed. They'll drag you down with them, and the only way to stay out of jail is to stay on the right side of the law.
In 1930, Tom White was sentenced to San Quentin to serve a maximum term of 10 years for grand theft. He proved to be such an incorrigible prisoner, getting into fights and fomenting trouble among fellow convicts, that he was sent to Folsom. In spite of his incarceration in that haven of the two-time losers, he was paroled in April 1933. At a nightclub, he meets Burma Adams, a young blonde who worked in a beauty shop. And then, on the night of August 16th.
You see, baby, the first thing you need in this racket is a car.
Yeah, but we ain't got one, Tom.
Sure, I know that.
We might have to stick up people in the street.
No, that's small-time stuff. We're going to operate in a big way.
Yeah, but where are you going to get a car?
Right here.
What do you mean?
You see that car stopping there?
Yeah?
Well, that's practically ours right now.
Gonna take it from him?
Sure.
Gee, you're a hard guy, Tom.
Sure I am, baby. How about you? You scared?
Me scared? No. Gee, I get a kick out of this.
That's the way I like to see him. Come on, babe.
All right, I won't forget. Good night, Leslie, and thanks for a marvelous evening.
Good night, Mary. I'll see you Tuesday.
Pick him up.
Oh.
What do you mean? Pick him up and give me your dough.
I haven't very much on me.
All right, give me all you got. You too.
Oh, but I tell you, I haven't a penny.
Shut up and get out of the car, the two of you. Now get in, babe, and start her up. You'll get your car back sooner or later. And if you know what's good for you, you'll not swap to the bulls too soon. You see, babe? That's all there is to it.
Gee, Tom, you're a smart guy.
this street. Pretty swell dumps along here. Ought to be some dough in some of them.
Gonna stick up an apartment?
Oh, I don't know yet. No. We're transferring right here. Parked right behind that car. The one that just pulled up in front of that apartment house.
Well, what are you gonna do now?
Well, we'll take that one. This heap will be hot by now. You can bet that mug has already reported to the bulls as a stolen car. Dig down. This is a holdup.
What? Say, what?
Just keep your mouth shut, mister, and hand over your dough. Look, baby. That car ahead's got to stop for that red light. Pull up close to the curb, and I'll knock him over. Right here. Now, that's swell. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Hold up your hands.
Huh? What is this, a joke?
No, it's a holdup, and I mean business. Now, keep your hand off that gear shift. Lady, you're not going to pull away from this.
Well, I can assure you, Mr. Withington won't try. I'm just teaching her to drive. I don't think she knows how to start the car, unless I told her.
All right, then. But hand over your money.
Don't you think this joke has gone far
Now,
enough?
this ain't no joke. Now, give me your watch.
Yeah, but you don't have to rip it off my wrist.
Well, all right, if you don't want me to rip your coat off, hand me your pocketbook.
Yeah. There you are.
Is that all you've got?
Well, yes. You see.
Well, it ain't enough. Okay, babe. Turn up here to the right and step on it.
What was that shot I heard?
Oh, the mug's trying to get fresh, so I let him have it.
All Los Angeles is horrified the following morning to learn of the brutal and needless shooting of Cora Withington and Crombie Allen. Public sympathy wells up as Miss Withington's life hangs in the balance. The Los Angeles Police Department goes into action. Chief Davis orders his first police blockade throughout the city in an attempt to capture the car used for the bandits. More than 300 patrolmen are deployed to strategically located intersections, where from 7 o'clock in the evening until 1 a.m., every passing automobile is scrutinized, its license plates checked, its occupants interrogated.
I never heard of such a thing. Holding decent people up like this, throwing everything out of kilter.
Listen, Martha, do you have any idea what this is all about?
No, and I don't care. I know I want to get home. I've got a headache, and these policemen are holding me up with their silly flashlights and questions. I won't
Well, listen here. They're looking for those gangsters who shot that school teacher.
They are?
Yes. And you ought to be glad we've got such an efficient police department. Would you rather be delayed a few minutes or maybe get shot like that poor woman was?
Well,
6 days later, Tom White changes cars again, holding up Mr. and Mrs. F.E. Bobria and taking their Chevrolet coupe from them. Furnished with the license number of this car, the police intensify their manhunt. On August 31st, C.C. Lewis is held up as he's entering his apartment house. He grapples with a thug who fires a shot at him and then runs away. Mr. Lewis's description of the bandit tallies with that of the other victim. Chain stores and drug stores are burglarized. Pedestrians held up on the street, and every time the bandit is seen, the description is the same. Usually, he's accompanied by his blonde companion. On the night of September 6th, the radio police car covering its beat sees the missing Chevrolet parked in a filling station lot.
Yeah, that's it, all right. License plates and description fit.
We've got to pull in and find out about it.
Okay.
Want some gas, boys?
Nope. Know anything about that coupe over there?
Why, no. What do you mean?
Who's it belong to?
Oh, some blonde lives up the street here.
Oh, a blonde, eh?
Yeah, she brought it in yesterday to have the battery charged.
What's her name?
I don't know.
Where does she live?
I don't know that either. What's the matter? Is it hot?
Oh, no. We thought for a minute it was a car we were looking for, but I guess we're mistaken.
Yeah, the car we want is owned by a redhead.
Well, good night, buddy.
Good night.
That's it, all right.
Got to get to a box and call headquarters.
That's what I'm doing right now.
Opry detail, Burris speaking.
Officer Diller, radio car 13 speaking.
Yeah?
We just located that stolen Chevrolet, 5P389.
Where?
It's parked in the filling station at Sutton, Chronicle.
Okay, we'll be right out. Stay away from that car.
We are staying away from it. We're parked on, down in the dark.
That's right. But don't let anyone see you there. We don't want to scare them away.
Right.
Okay, Anderson and I will be right out.
Hello, Lieutenant.
Anything happened yet?
Not a thing. Where's the Chevy?
In the filling station at the right-hand corner down there. You can just see the hood of it by the grease rack there.
Oh, yeah. Did you talk to the station attendant?
Yeah.
What did he say?
Said the car belonged to a blonde.
Well, that fits okay.
Said she left it to have the battery charged and she'd be back for it any time.
And she probably won't. It's 1,000 to 1 that car's abandoned for good. But I'll play the long chance that she's coming back for it.
It's worth trying.
Right. Now, you boys better get out of here and stay away from this corner. We'll hold the stake from now on.
Okay.
Tell the boys who relieve you to stay away out of this neighborhood and tell them to tell the boys to relieve them.
Right. Good night.
Right.
Well, let's see where we better hide. We can't stand out here on the sidewalk all night.
Say, Andy, look. Right next to that filling station is a garage, see? We could get in there.
Hey, that's a swell idea. Come on.
Don't look like there's anybody home.
Yes, there is. There's a light in the back.
Yeah, this will be a great spot. Those hedges hide everything. We can see right through them.
Yes?
We're from police headquarters.
Well, what's the matter? Is there some trouble?
No, nothing's wrong, but we're looking for a car thief.
A car thief, is it? Worse than horse thieves they've got to be. Well, what do you want with me? I ain't no car thief.
Oh, we know that.
We'd like to hide in your garage.
One of the cars this man stole is parked in the filling station next door, and we want to watch it through your hedge and try to pick up the crook when he comes back for it.
I see. Well, I can't figure no reason why you shouldn't hide in the garage.
Well, that's fine.
Look here. You got a car with you?
Why, yes.
Well, I'll take my car out of the garage. You can park yours in there.
Well, that's swell.
I'll park mine on the street. That is, if you don't give me no ticket.
Don't worry about that.
All evening and past midnight, the hidden detectives watch the filling station. The attendant closes up and goes home. The stream of traffic dwindles as the city goes to sleep. Still, the guardians of the law keep their watch.
Well, it doesn't look like they're coming for this crate tonight.
Maybe not. And again, maybe they will.
If the girl comes back alone, we will have to follow her. You realize that?
Sure, we can't let the guy get away.
Well, I've been thinking maybe we'd better get a couple more men in case we have to surround their hideout.
Yeah, not a bad idea. I'll call in for a relief so we can get some dinner. And I think it'd be a good plan to change clothes. You got any dirty old pants at home you use when you grease your car?
Yeah, I think so.
Well, you'd better get them.
Detectives Maxwell and Bergeron relieve Burris and Anderson. As dawn throws her roses spread over the waking city, they return, clad in old clothes, disguised as mechanics.
Well, what's the idea of the Glenride? Do you want to wake up the neighborhood?
Hey, what is this, Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson?
Don't be funny. If that girl comes back for the car, I'm getting a good look at her. And these greasy clothes won't arouse suspicion.
Anything happen while we were away?
Not a thing. Quiet as a graveyard.
Well, we ought to get some action soon. The boy's opening up at the filling station.
It's the day shift man. Maybe he'd know something more about the car.
Might have passed.
Good morning. Good morning.
Oh, hello. How are you this morning?
Well, I declare I never would have recognized you with them duds on. You ready for some right perch sleuthing, ain't you?
Maybe. Hey, look here. Do you want to help us?
Anything I could do, I'd be glad to.
Good. You know that bird in the filling station?
Bob, sure I know it.
Well, mosey down there and find out what you can about this car here. Ask him who left it and what they said, will you?
Yes, indeedy, I'll be glad to.
But don't let on about us.
Oh, no, don't worry about that. I got better sense than that.
Well, here he comes back.
Took him long enough to find out anything.
He's a great old character. Trouble he had to settle the international debt situation while he was at it.
Well, it's people like him that are a big help sometimes.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, Dad, what'd you find out?
Well, not very much. It seems that this blonde girl left the car to have the battery charged. That was 2 days ago, and she ain't been for it since. Bob said she lives up on Coronado somewhere, and that she's got 2 other cars, a Ford and Essex.
2 others, eh?
Well, is there anything else I can do for you?
No, I don't think so.
The missus is getting some breakfast. I might be able to get her to warm up some coffee for you.
Well, that'd be all right. I could do with a little coffee.
Throughout the long, hot morning, the 4 detectives remain on watch. Then at 3 in the afternoon, just as they're beginning to feel that their vigil is in vain, a blonde girl arrives at the filling station.
Hey, here she is.
Who?
The blonde. Yeah, that's her. She's gone over to the Chevrolet.
Well, we'll have to follow her and get the guy, too.
Well, I'm going to get a good look.
Weaving unsteadily, apparently a drunken hobo, Burris, clad in his greasy old clothes, wanders down 3rd Street past the filling station. As the blonde girl fills her tank with gas and chats with the station attendant, Burris has plenty of time to look her over and check her appearance against the description given by the many hold-up victims. As she pulls out of the filling station, Bergeron and Maxwell follow her in their car. Burris staggers up Carondelet until he's out of sight and then breaks into a run. Joined by Anderson, he streaks between houses to Coronado. They watch as the blonde turns into an alley and parks the car in a garage behind an apartment house, where she is joined by a man in a blue sweater. Bergeron and Maxwell drive by them as they are locking the garage. After the 2 suspects have entered the apartment house, Bergeron and Maxwell join Burris and Anderson.
That's the girl, all right.
Yeah, that's the guy, too. He fits the description to a T.
All right. Maxwell, you and Andy guard that alley entrance to the apartment. Come on, Bergeron. You and I are going to talk to the landlady.
Yes?
How do you do, ma'am? We're police officers, and we'd like you to help us.
Why, come in. Is anything wrong? What can I do?
We're looking for a blonde who lives in this building.
A blonde? Well, there are several blondes here.
And who are they?
Well, there's Miss Arnold.
What's she look like?
I wouldn't want her to go any further, for she is heavy. In fact, she's very fat.
Yeah, that's not the one.
Who else?
Then there's Mrs. Gilman. She's 40 if she's a day, though she's tries to tell people she's only 32.
No, that's not the one.
And then, oh, yes, there's young Miss Adams. She hasn't been here long.
What's she like?
Well, she's just a child about 19 or maybe 20. She's thin and good in a way.
That's the one we're looking for.
What apartment is she in?
She's in 218. Now, look here, I don't want any trouble in my place.
Don't worry, ma'am. There won't be any trouble. You just stay right here in your apartment.
Burris and Bergeron call Anderson and Maxwell in from the alley, and the 4, guns drawn, climb the stairs to apartment 218. They find the door unlocked.
That's her. Grab her for us.
Okay.
Hey, that's the guy down the hall. Hey, get that gun coming. We're police officers. Get him up. Grab that gun. Get him up for what? Hey!
What are they doing? Kill us all?
Now, just sit still until we find out what this is all about. I don't know what's the matter myself yet. We'll be as good to you as you'll let us.
What are you, police officers?
Yes, ma'am. We're police officers.
Oh, mercy. I thought you were hold-up men.
And just who are you?
I'm Burma's mother.
Well, boys, what happened?
That guy in the blue sweater opened up on us, so we let him have it.
Is he dead?
I don't know. Where's the phone?
Over there on the wall.
Who's Violet?
Well, that's his sister.
What's she doing here?
Came down here to see him. Tom's out on parole, you know.
Hello, Phil. Anderson. Send the ambulance out to Second and Coronado. Yeah. And then shot. I don't know. Make it snappy, though.
Don't let my mother know what I'm into.
She'll find out from the papers.
Well, I guess if you found out that way, then no.
All right. Anderson, place these two women in technical custody. I want to talk to the girl. Come on in the kitchen, Burma. Now, let's find out all about this. What's your name?
Burma Adams.
What's the boyfriend's name?
Tom White?
Where's his gun?
Where's what gun?
The one that blinded Miss Withington, that 32.
Oh, that one. That's in his room, I guess.
What room?
327.
Maxwell. Yeah. Get up to that guy's room, number 327, and see if you can find that 32.
Right.
Now, where's your car?
What car?
The Chevrolet.
I haven't got any Chevrolet.
Oh, yes, you have. I saw you drive it away from the filling station.
Well, then you ought to know where it is.
Where's the key to it?
My pocketbook. Oh, please, mister. Don't let my mother know about this.
I won't tell her a thing. How many jobs have you and Tom pulled, Verma?
Oh, not so many.
Did you hold up that drugstore on Western Avenue?
Yes?
Those chain grocery stores?
Yes?
About how many?
I can tell you all that later, can't I? I don't want my mother to hear about this.
All right, Burma. Oh, by the way, why did you hang on to that Chevrolet? Didn't you know we had the license number?
Oh, I don't know. Tom wanted to get rid of it. But gee, I fell in love with it. Honest, it was a honey. Not a rattle in it. Oh, boy, what a pickup. Gee, it was a swell car. It was a kid driving it.
Pardon me, boys. Ambulance just arrived. The guy is dead.
Hey, Burris, let me get a statement from the girl, will you? What's your name, kid?
Shall I tell him, or do you want to?
Her name's Burma White from now on.
Burma White. What do you mean?
I married him on Friday.
Hey, why didn't you bump her off, too? Look, she's all hopped up.
If that's what they're going to say, I'm through talking.
Get out of here, you.
But I got to get a statement.
Get out.
Okay.
The pig. I want you to sit right with me.
Oh, don't worry, kid. I will. Come on, we'll get you out of here. There's the kitchen door leading to the hall.
Yeah.
Well, maybe we'd better go out the front way.
No. Well, that's all right. I guess I can step over his body.
And on November 6th, Burma White, tool of the parole convict Tom White, was sentenced to serve from 30 years to life on 7 counts of first-degree robbery, 1 count of attempted robbery, and 3 counts of assault with deadly weapon with intent to commit murder. This series of crimes in which Burma White participated would never have entered a career of crime had the parole system been stringent enough to prevent desperados from having their freedom. It is my sincere hope that you, the citizens, will demand a proper parole system so that you and yours will not be in constant danger from the ruthless viciousness of men of the stripe of Tom White.
Thank you, Chief Davis.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are almost certain to see a Rio Grande service station tomorrow, and we hope you'll drive in to ask for a free copy of the Calling All Cars News. To read about the free gifts for your boys and girls. Or to fill up with Rio Grande Cracked, the gasoline that gives you so much more and costs you no more. And remember, more police cars, fire engines, and other emergency equipment are powered by Rio Grande Cracked wherever it is sold than any other gasoline. And if you'll take the advice of America's most expert oil buyers, you'll take your car into a Rio Grande station every time you need oil. Sinclair motor oils are featured at all Rio Grande stations. The same Sinclair oils that are specified by 150 leading railroads and by the leading airplane lines. Sinclair oils are de-waxed and de-jellied so that all the useless filler you get in other oils is removed, and you get more real lubrication for your money than ever before.
Please calling all cars, attention all cars. Cancellation broadcast 189. Regarding a man morning.
Frederick Lindsley bidding you good night for the Rio Grande Oil Company.
Pepsi-Cola, it's a pot, 12 ounces, that's a lot, twice as much for nickel too. Pepsi-Cola is the drink for you. Nickel, 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 nickel.
HOJO Radio, where the classics come alive.
Washington calling counter-spy. Washington calling counter-spy. Washington calling counter-spy.
Harding, counter-spy, calling Washington. Harding, counter-spy, calling
Washington. The Blue Network presents Phillips H. Lord's Counter-Spy. Backing our great Army and Navy at the front is our invisible army of United States counter-spies who work quietly, effectively, and swiftly against the enemies in our midst. They are the dread of the German Gestapo, the Italian Ovra, and the Japanese Black Dragons. Imagine the ace counter-spy of them all as David Harding, specially appointed with authority to work however or wherever he will. 3 weeks ago, in Washington, a very prominent bachelor by the name of William R. Terrace stood in the center of his expensive apartment. The time, 11:25 at night. A dim light burned on a little ebony side table. Mr. Terrace stood there. His face was ashen white. Great beads of perspiration stood out on his forehead.
Go on. You've betrayed your country. Go on. Go on, pull the trigger, you coward. Go on.
Tell the editor to hold the press. William R. Terrace has just committed suicide in his living room. He left a note saying it was because of ill health.
It's a clear-cut case of suicide, Mr. Harding. You're the chief, and what you say goes, but it's just the case of a wealthy bachelor in poor health.
Well, I admit, Mark, William Terrace probably did commit suicide. But remember this. We're at war. The Gestapo are experts at making a murder appear to be a suicide.
Then you're really going to investigate it?
Well, I think I'll at least ask a few questions.
Yes, sir.
Now, the note Terrace left, Mark, said he was committing suicide because of ill health. I think I'll drop in on his doctor and see how bad his health really was. You would know, Doctor, if Mr. Terrace was in poor health?
I was shocked at his suicide, Mr. Harding. From everything I know, Mr. Terrace was in perfect health.
That's quite interesting. I think I'll go over to Mr. Terrace's bank and see if finances were worrying him.
No, Mr. Harding. Mr. Terrace's finances were in perfect condition. He was worth nearly $750,000. He had many government bonds and securities.
Thank you. Mark, when a man commits suicide, and it isn't his health and it isn't finances.
Look for the woman.
Exactly. And that's what I want you to do, Mark.
Yes, sir.
Now pick 6 men. Cover Washington from head to foot. And find out what woman William Terrace paid special attention to. Yes?
Mr. Harding, I've just completed that investigation. Man in question was spotless. Described as congenial, social, friendly, but never escorted any particular woman. Was known to be very proper and old-fashioned in ideals.
All right, Mark. That ends that lead. Meet me later. I'm going to take a long chance and visit the accounting firm which checked Terrace's books.
Why, yes, Mr. Harding. We've been the accountants for Mr. Terrace's firm for 9 years.
I want you to go to Mr. Terrace's office and get his office pad of appointments for the past year. Now check that appointment list for lapses of time. Then check those dates against his personal checks and see what checks were made out during those periods of absences. This should tell us where Mr. Terrace was during those absences.
Mr. Harding, we went over Mr. Terrace's office pad and found he was absent from his business during the past year on 4 different occasions, a week at each time.
Good. Now, during those absences, did he make out any checks?
His first absence corresponds with a check he made out at the Saratoga Hotel, Saratoga Springs. During Mr. Terrace's second absence, he made out a check at the clubhouse, Pine Hill, South Carolina. This third check was made out at a clubhouse, Atlanta, Georgia.
Fine, thank you. Proceed.
This is G6, calling from Saratoga Springs. Man in question spent week here in company of woman. Dark complexion, about 31, expensively dressed, unusually attractive. Full report follows.
Fine. Proceed.
G8, reporting from Pine Hill, South Carolina. Man in question stayed here accompanied by unknown woman in early 30s. Most attractive, expensively gowned, dark. Report follows.
This is beginning to get very interesting, Mr. Harding.
Yet we may still be on a wild goose chase, Mark. We have no idea who that girl was. She may have been perfectly all right.
But how can we ever find her? She may be anywhere.
Well, here's a little something I dug up. April the 2nd, William Terrace made out a check to the Washington Jewelry Company for $8,000.
Say, that's a pretty sizable amount for a bachelor to be making out to send to a jewelry house.
That's what I thought, Mark. I'm going to check that jewelry house. I wonder just what William Terrace bought with that $8,000.
Mr. Terrace bought a solitaire diamond ring, 10 1/2 carats, platinum setting, a woman's ring. We have no record that he said whom he was buying it for. That is all.
Thank you. Well, Mark, now we know that Mr. Terrace bought a ring for some woman. But who is she? Where is she?
Oh, that's a tough question, Mr. Harding.
Well, let's put 2 and 2 together and try to make 5. Check all insurance companies, Mark.
Yes?
And see if within a few days after April the 2nd, any woman insured a ring for approximately $8,000.
Say, that's clever reasoning. You win, Harding. We're getting hot. Here's the insurance report. April 5th, a solitaire diamond ring, platinum setting, was insured for $8,000 by a Miss Avery Rollins of 1370 Lincoln Boulevard, Northwest, Washington.
Rollins. Avery Rollins. That name's very familiar.
She's high society, Mr. Harding. Lives with her uncle and aunt. Now, I got a report on her. Age 32, height 5 feet 5, light hair, light complexion, very social, educated at the Sorbonne, Paris. Above reproach.
Yeah, but the woman seen with William Terrace at the resorts was dark hair. The weights are approximately the same, both apparently wealthy, both smart dressers. Mark, there's something wrong, something very wrong. It's a problem that's got to be approached from some unusual angle. Well, you have a very luxurious apartment here, Colonel Reynolds.
Thank you, Mr. Harding. I'm pretty proud of it, especially this library den.
I'm here to make a very unusual request, Colonel. As you may know, I'm a United States counter-spy.
Yes, I do.
Now, Colonel, you knew William Terrace personally, didn't you?
Oh, yes. Was his suicide a bona fide suicide, Mr. Harding?
Well, to be perfectly frank, Colonel Reynolds, I don't know. That's why I've come to you. I need the aid of a citizen, Colonel, prominent, who has some government responsibility. You're 48?
That's correct.
A bachelor?
A confirmed one.
You're a very handsome man.
Oh, come now, come.
Yes, and very fascinating to women.
Now, wait a minute, Harding.
No, this is very serious business. Now, you're chairman on the board for the new airplane formations and armor.
Yes?
That makes you a very interesting person to certain other persons. Colonel, do you happen to know a Miss Avery Rollins?
A very gorgeous woman, but I've never happened to meet her. She's usually surrounded by any number of admirers.
Well, I'm going to arrange for you to meet her, Colonel Reynolds. And I'm going to ask you to make yourself just as interesting to her as possible. In fact, I'm going to ask you to try and make it even a constant attachment for a time.
What? Oh, no, Harding, that's a little too much. I don't wish to get mixed up with women.
Now, Colonel Reynolds, you could be the principal factor in possibly exposing one of the most cunning spy rings in this country today.
You don't think Avery Rollins was in any way connected with Terrace's suicide? You don't think she's acting as a spy?
That's what I want to find out, Colonel.
Good Lord, Harding.
I've arranged with Lady Keston to give a formal ball next Friday evening. I've given her a list of guests she's to include. Miss Rollins will be one. And I'd appreciate your being another and casually meeting her.
Naturally, Rollins. Mr. Harding, under these circumstances, no man could refuse.
I thought you'd feel that way, sir. Now, after you meet her, please don't try to contact me in any way. Leave it up to me to find out what you're doing.
3 weeks later, March 23rd.
P6, the colonel boarded train at Washington. After hour, was joined by a woman already on train. She is of dark complexion, expensively dressed, very attractive, black hair, height approximately 5 feet 5. Ticket reads Palm Springs. That is all.
That's strange. That's not the description of Avery Rollins.
April 6th, 4:20 p.m. The colonel in question boarded train at Washington. Hour later joined woman already on train. Dark complexion, expensively dressed, very beautiful and exotic. Weight, 110 pounds. Tickets read Atlanta, Georgia.
Who is meeting Colonel Reynolds on these trips? Is it Avery Rollins, or who is it? Come in. Oh, hello, Mark.
Hello, Mr. Harding. I just got the facts on that dock girl who's been meeting the colonel.
Good. What did you find out?
You were right, sir. After the girl got off the train with the colonel, I went to her compartment. There were unmistakable signs of dark-colored powder, blonde hair, and black hair which showed at the end of the hair, as if it had come out of a wig. Now, she must get on the train, get a compartment, and change her appearance before she comes out and meets the colonel.
Then it is Avery Rollins, because she's been absent from Washington at the same time as the colonel has. She's probably explained to the colonel that because of their prominent standing in Washington, she must disguise herself.
Then, the way I see it, this Avery Rollins must have been the mysterious dark woman with whom William Terrace went off on trips before he was murdered.
Without a doubt. And she's connected with his murder in some manner. And I've got to make sure the colonel isn't killed the same way. She's off now down at Virginia Beach with him.
What a sunset, Avery.
Beautiful. I love to lie on the beach after all the others have gone in.
Look at those breakers on the sea.
John, sometimes I see a look come over your face. A look of pain. Anything troubling you?
No, dear. Nothing really.
Perhaps you're worrying about your responsibilities. Those new war plans or something.
No, I don't think I am.
Oh, I wish we didn't have to go back to Washington tomorrow.
We must, though. I've got some important conferences. Here, put these in your bag, will you, Avery? I'm afraid I'll lose them in the sand.
Oh, but why bring keys down to the beach?
I don't dare leave them in the hotel room. The flat one is the key to the secret cabinet in my library. It has the government plans we're drawing up.
Oh, no, John. Don't give me the keys. It's too big a responsibility.
Well, all right. I'll hide them next time under the rug at the hotel.
Oh, silly. Let's go in the water. Come on.
All right. I'll beat you to it.
Oh, you just try.
Oh, I was looking for you, Harding.
Well, hello, Colonel Reynolds. Glad to see you. Sit down. Now, I thought it might be better for us to meet openly at the hotel here rather than for me to go again to your apartment.
A good many things have happened since we last talked, Harding.
Yes. And you've proved yourself a veteran. A professional counter spy. Couldn't have done better.
Anything the matter, Harding?
Well, I think the big moment's here. It's now or never.
What shall I do?
Now, I'd like to have you invite Miss Rollins up to your apartment Tuesday night for a formal dinner. Just you two.
I'll try. You don't think, do you, Harding, Miss Rollins really is a spy?
Yes, Colonel. I do.
But I kept the key to my secret file where she could get it. Called her attention to it. Harding, tell me the truth. You don't think Miss Rollins was the girl who was with Terrace on those trips before he committed suicide?
Yes. His blood is on her hands, Colonel. And probably the blood of a dozen other men. Now, Tuesday night, after you've had dinner, I wish you'd go with her into your library den for coffee. But under no conditions, Colonel, drink the coffee. Now, I'll casually drop in a little later.
You intend to break her Tuesday night?
If I can. And I hope I can. What's the matter, Colonel? You're white as a sheet.
I'm all right.
Can I get you something?
No,
What is it, Colonel? You can tell me.
Harding, I love her.
You don't mean that.
Yes. Yes, I do mean it. I love her.
But good heavens, man, you can't.
But I do. I think she's innocent. She didn't try to copy the key. She's never tried to ask me questions about secret government affairs.
But she's a murderess, Colonel. Take my word for it, the blood of Terrace is on her. She'd double-cross you in a second.
I didn't realize how lonely I'd been. She's so clever, smart, beautiful, everything about her. I can't stand it.
You're not thinking of doing what William Terrace did?
No. No, not that. I guess I can see it through.
I'm sorry, Colonel. Terribly sorry.
I guess there's no more to be said.
You'll go through with it tomorrow night, as planned.
Yes.
Now remember, do not drink any coffee that's poured. I wish I could say something, Colonel Reynolds. I feel for you from the bottom of my heart. But this is bigger than you, or me.
I know. But still, I think she's innocent. Some more champagne, Avery?
Please, John.
That's a stunning evening gown. It blends right with your skin.
Oh, flattered.
Some more champagne for you, sir.
Yes. And Martin.
Yes, sir.
Miss Avery and I will have our brandy and coffee in the library tonight.
Yes, sir.
And I'd like to have you remain this evening.
Very good, sir.
Oh, by the way, Avery, did you ever know William R. Terrace?
Terrace? Oh, wasn't he the man who committed suicide about 4 months ago?
Yes.
I've seen him, but I've never met him.
Oh. Awful thing, wasn't it?
I've heard some people say it wasn't suicide.
Yes, but you can't tell from rumors. Oh, like the silverware?
Oh, you caught me looking at it, John. Yes, I do like it. Everything about this place, it's so tasteful.
I had thought I was perfectly contented. But now it all seems so insignificant. To have something really worthwhile, you've got to have someone to share it with.
I found the same thing true, John. Closeness and comradeship mean more than anything.
Shall I have Martin serve the coffee and brandy in the library?
Yes, do I finish?
Let me help you.
But I'd rather sit on the divan with you.
Avery, you look like the most sophisticated woman in the world. Like one of those gorgeous paintings. And then you say something so tender.
Oh, but a woman should be a mystery to a man. Oh, there.
Avery.
I know.
But you don't know how much.
Yes, I do, John. My heart's pitter-pattering the same way. It has been ever since that last trip.
Do you love me, Avery?
Yes, John. Very deeply.
Avery.
Pardon me, sir, but Mr. Harding and his friend have called.
Oh, yes. Yes, Martin, show them in.
Certainly. Why did they have to come at just this moment?
Well, Harding's a very good friend. I guess he's just dropping in.
No, we were just on our way to the club. We thought we'd stop in, Colonel.
Hello, Harding. Glad to see you. Have you met Miss Rollins?
I don't believe I've had that privilege. Good evening, Miss Rollins.
Good evening, Mr. Harding.
Miss Rollins is a friend of mine, Mr. Mark.
Good evening, Mr. Mark.
It's a pleasure.
And Colonel Reynolds, Mark.
Good evening, Mr. Mark. Won't you join us in a brandy coffee?
No, thank you. We've just finished dinner.
Sit down, gentlemen, and make yourselves comfortable.
Thank you.
Well, while you men chat, I think I'll go and freshen up a bit. We just finished dinner, a delicious dinner, Mr. Harding, but fried chicken, and you know what that does to the hands.
Well, I've always maintained the only real place to really enjoy fried chicken was in the bath.
Well, you men chat, and I'll be back in just a few moments, if you'll excuse me.
Harding, it's all right to talk in front of Mr. Mark?
Yes, Colonel. He's a counter-spy in active service.
Harding, it can't be true. She's too decent. I'm going crazy.
Colonel Reynolds, I'm going to have to be brutal tonight. Ordinarily, I wouldn't operate this way. But I'm going to do everything I can to expose this right here in front of you. I believe I owe it to you.
Tell me, Harding, she's really one of your agents working with you. Tell me that you suspected me and really did this so she could check on me. Tell me that. Ease my mind.
The only way, Colonel, is to let this unfold. Now, would you ring for your butler, please?
Why, yes. Harding, is it the butler you're really after? Tell me it's he and not Avery, isn't it?
Colonel, I know how upset you are. I sympathize. But I can't change the facts. Now, don't say anything for a minute.
Did you ring for me, sir?
I believe the Colonel wanted you to pour some brandy for me.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
This is a gun in your stomach. Don't move.
Harding!
Quiet, please, Colonel. Cuff his hands behind him, Mark. Tight.
I've got him. Then he's the man you're after, not Avery.
I believe he...
Martin.
There. Without his wig, he looks more natural, like his picture. Your butler, Colonel Reynolds, is Herr Franz Bergmann, one of the cleverest Austrian spies.
I am not him. I do not know whom you are talking about.
Colonel, when your butler was hurt by a car 6 weeks ago, you might be interested to know it was a plot. The man at the wheel of the car which ran down your butler was this man standing here. He wanted to pose as a butler so he could get in your house here. We've been checking on him for weeks. Here. Drink the coffee you served the Colonel. Drink it. Now, you don't like doped coffee, huh, Bergman?
Please, Harding, Avery is coming back.
Now, watch her when she comes in. I think she'll be pretty surprised.
Is something the matter in here? Well, is that your butler? His hair is...
Yes, Miss Rollins. We removed his wig.
Why?
Well, for the reason that he happens not to be a butler, but Herr Franz Bergmann, a very noted Austrian spy.
Spy? He's a spy.
Yes. Quite a catch.
Oh, I'm so glad you caught him.
Mark, take Bergmann over to the other side of the room.
Come on, Hitler, or I'll lead you by the nose.
Oh, John, you must feel terribly about this taking place in your apartment. Here, take this brandy. You look like a ghost.
Thank you. Thank you, Avery. Thanks.
Now, Colonel Reynolds, I have a record I'd like to play for you. Would you mind my using your machine?
Why, no. No, the switch is right on the side of the radio.
Right. It's just a short recording.
I feel a little dizzy. I guess I'll sit here by you, Avery.
Good. What kind of a record is it, Mr. Harding? What's the purpose of it?
I believe that it'll be self-explanatory. It was made last night. There. The lines were spoken rather softly at the time, but I'll turn on the full volume so we won't miss anything.
Here. Quick, get the camera ready. Oh, I can't find anything but personal papers.
Oh, they must be there. The colonel told me himself. He kept them in the wall safe in his library.
Yes, all right, but if we don't find them, you just have to keep on playing him.
Oh, that old fool. I want to spit in his face every time I get near him. I can't stand to touch him.
Oh, the plans are not here. Yeah, he has tricked you.
But they must be there.
We have failed tonight. But he'll probably put them in here tomorrow night.
I hope tonight would be the last. Then I could break him and force him to commit suicide like terrorists. If he won't, we'll poison his coffee.
Not so quick.
You dog! It's vermin! I'll spit at you! I'll kill you!
Avery, do you know what you're saying?
You pig! You swine! Let go of me!
Fortunately, Colonel Reynolds, the plans weren't there, but if they had been, you wouldn't be alive tonight. She'd have worked on you till she'd gotten you to commit suicide.
And I would have made him kill himself, just like I made terrorists kill himself.
Shut up, you fool! Don't talk!
Yeah, she'd have told you she'd gotten the plans, that you'd be disgraced. She'd have broken your heart. You'd have done what all the other men have done she's worked on.
And I would have laughed at the stupid dog.
Colonel, her real name is Marie Schmitz of Hungary, a paid spy. She goes to the biggest bidder. This woman is one of the cleverest, if not the cleverest, paid woman spy in this country. And that butler of yours, Franz Bergmann, is her husband. Take them away, Mark. The other agents are out in the front hall.
Yes, sir.
Keep your hands off me.
Come on now, come on.
I'm sorry, Colonel. But I had to strip it all down before you, so you'd never have any doubt.
I didn't know a person could be hurt quite this much.
You may have saved the lives, Colonel, of thousands of our boys.
I hope so.
Come over here by the window for a minute. Would you, Colonel?
Why couldn't she have been what I hoped she was?
Look at those Marines swing along. You've done them and the boys like them a great service, Colonel Reynolds. No one will probably ever know about it. But you will. And I will. Let's open the window. Doesn't that send a thrill through you?
It does. Yes. I'm glad I was able to help Harding. Every one of us has got to sacrifice. Some one way, some another. I guess this way is mine.
All over this country tonight is spread a great army of counter-spies, men working to protect you and our boys at the front. Special agents of the Federal Bureau of Investigation, of the Secret Service, of the Treasury and State Departments, of the intelligence bureaus of the Army and the Navy, men who are constantly on the alert, diligently protecting our home front. These men beg of you not to talk concerning troop movements, armaments, defense plants, and wartime plans. There are many leeches, enemy agents, just waiting to pounce on every little scrap of information so their experts can piece it together into a big, compact picture of our war efforts. Next Monday evening, counter-spy David Harding will be on the air. Tell your friends, invite them to listen in to these exciting dramatized cases portrayed weekly at this time. Counter-Spy is a Phillips H. Lord production which has originated from New York. This is the Blue Network.
To make every day more enjoyable, treat yourself often to refreshing, delicious Wrigley's Spearmint Chewing Gum. Here's a taste treat you can enjoy indoors, outdoors, at work, or at play. The cool, long-lasting mint flavor refreshes you. The smooth, steady chewing helps keep you fresh and alert. Adds enjoyment to whatever you're doing. Wrigley's Spearmint Chewing Gum. Refreshing, delicious.
Keep it tuned right here to HOJO Radio for more classic old-time radio.
Broadway's my beat. From Times Square to Columbus Circle. The gaudiest, the most violent, the lonesomest mile in the world. Broadway's My Beat, with Larry Thor as Detective Danny Clover. Broadway, where a pale and hungry girl walks like a queen because Broadway's a dream street. Where a fat man stands with begging eyes because he knows his dreams will never come true. It's a cry or a laugh, but nothing in between. Either way, it's My Beat. On special detail, there are no special hours. Don was at the window of my office at police headquarters when I scribbled my last report. An out-of-town school teacher was trying to beat the heat by using Columbus Circle for a burlesque runway. I buried that one behind a convenient fan, bid the boys a fond bonjour, and started home out the side entrance. I didn't make it. All I saw of sunrise was in an alley, the alley reserved for police ambulances coming home to the morgue. A voice stopped me and invited me in.
Danny, come here.
The man who stood silhouetted in the slice of light was a man who called himself K-Peck, a freelance photographer who hung around headquarters. You never knew he was there, but he always was.
The quality of dawn, Danny. Who can hold it? Who can imprison it? It is the eternal enigma for a photographer.
Why don't you go home then, K-Peck? What keeps you here?
That ambulance, perhaps.
Huh?
You see, creative men like me have a devotion. It is always the same. perfection. Everything neat and perfection.
Oh, so that's what it is.
Watch that stretcher, Joe. Yeah, okay. Hiya, Danny.
Hi, what do you got, boys?
Suicide. Guy jumped in front of an 8th Avenue subway.
I didn't know anything about it.
Well, not your department, Danny. See you later.
See what I mean, Danny? Neat and perfection. The man they're bringing in, for instance.
What's neat about him?
That was Jimmy Dorn, a Cinderella man who only the other day won $17,000 on the Irish sweepstakes.
What?
You must have read about him, how no newspaper, no newsreel could get a picture of him.
Yeah, I remember. He was shy. I liked him for that.
But I have a picture of him.
Oh? Dead or alive?
Alive, of course. Dead is for any hack with a brownie.
Got it with you? Mind if I see it?
No harm. I've already sold it to the news. Here, look at it, Danny. Note the delicate play of light and shadow, the exquisite...
This guy looks happy. I never seen anybody look that happy.
Because Capek took it at the moment of Jimmy Dorn's greatest joy, the supreme ecstasy of winning $17,000.
Yeah, to each his own. How did you get it when no one else could?
This famous Capek tact. It cost me $50 to arrange it. But the news paid me twice that.
That much, huh?
When Mr. Dorn committed suicide, it raised the price. You see, in the newspaper game one must know.
Excuse me, Capek. Danny Clover, give me the dope on a suicide name of Jimmy Dorn. Yeah, I know it's not my department. I'm nosy. Yeah. Lily Dorn, 3rd Avenue. Okay, that's enough.
You have to look, Danny. You smell something, maybe?
Maybe. Be with you in a second, Capek. Hello, Benny. Danny Clover. That Jimmy Dorn suicide. Tell the chief I'm going to look into it. Yeah, Benny, yeah, I know, but it bothers me. Sure, I'll grab some sleep on the subway.
I asked you, Danny, you smell something, maybe?
Why should a guy let a subway train make his wife a widow with $17,000 orphan dollars? Why should all that sudden dough make him want to commit suicide?
Is it such a secret why men destroy themselves?
Yeah. To me, it's not neat, Capek. It just ain't neat. 3rd Avenue is a tenement 5 stories high and miles long. At 9 o'clock in the morning, it was going full blast. The elevated, housewives hunched in open windows, kids flipping pennies against the wall, and every 7 minutes it screamed. Somewhere between Sam Chu's hand laundry, special attention pages pleated dress shirts, and the Blue Star delicatessen, cream soda and hot pastrami 2 bits, somewhere between there was a doorbell. I pushed it.
Yeah? What do you want?
My name's Danny Clover. I want to see Mrs. Dorn.
Suddenly, everybody wants to see Mrs. Dorn. Suddenly, I'm a popular lady. Suddenly,
I'm from the police, Mrs. Dorn.
You guys don't quit, do you? All right. Come on in. You want to know how it is to win $17,000? Is that what you want to know?
Look, Mrs. Dorn, I'm sorry about your husband.
Oh, sure. You can feel any way you like.
Tell me about your husband.
Jimmy?
Yeah.
I'll tell you about him. Jimmy didn't like people. He got afraid of them once, and he never got over it.
Why?
You know, I don't know. He was always running, and I ran with him. I was his wife, Mr. Clover. I didn't need to know any more than that.
But maybe you understood why he refused to see any reporters when he won all that money.
Listen, my husband was a frightened little man who won a sweepstakes. It bought him an obituary.
Well, that doesn't tell me much. This room tells me more.
This rat hole. This room says that, doesn't it? Rat hole.
I didn't say that, Mrs. Dorn. I'm talking about that circus poster on the wall. Patsy Mack presents the 3 whirling tornadoes. Was your husband a whirling tornado?
You can go now, policeman. You said your questions. Now go.
Brody, please. Why didn't you stay in that room? They can't do anything about us now.
Come right on in, mister. Who are you?
I'm a clever boy. I don't win sweepstakes, but I stay alive.
Yeah, real clever. Now, what about this circus poster?
It covers the cracks in the plaster.
3 whirling tornadoes. 3 men riding motorcycles in a barrel. Mrs. Dorn, for a frightened man, your husband made a dangerous dollar.
Look, I told you all I know.
Maybe you ought to get out of here.
Why should a poster come between us, Mrs. Dorn? We were getting along fine.
You heard the lady, copper. She's saying she's finished talking.
That's right, Mrs. Dorn?
Yeah.
What did you say?
I said that's right.
Maybe I should have let it alone, got some sleep. But it kept eating at me. When I found out Jimmy Dorn rode a motorcycle in a barrel, everybody got unhappy. I don't like it when it gets unhappy. So I took a walk and found myself on Broadway in front of a tired building that has a lot of names. You take your choice. You walk up 4 flights and you get 4 offers. You're perfect for a fairy tale ballet that's opening in Newark. You make a stunning cover in a muscle magazine. Can you play first trumpet with a Bop Hawaiian outfit? If you got a song that's trying to be published, call it a slight fee, of course. And on the 5th floor, you find what you were looking for. The office of Patsy Mack, promoter, entrepreneur, and a dollar guy.
Well, it isn't Danny Clover.
Hi, Patsy.
You still pounding the stem, Danny? Aren't you ever going to be promoted?
Promotion means a desk job away from Broadway. Who wants that?
Yeah, I know what you mean. Can I give you something?
Yeah, grape juice would be keen.
I've got 3 fingers left of a bottle given me by a bearded lady who was enamored of my social standing. It'll bring a smile to your lips.
You drink it, Patsy, and thank her for me, Patsy. Send her a dozen blue roses, or is it red roses for a bearded lady?
Yes, I'll do that. She'll appreciate it. She loves delicate things.
Don't they all? Patsy, tell me a story.
Okay. Now, let me see. Oh, have you heard the one about...
Tell me the one about the 3 whirling tornadoes.
The 3 tornadoes? What fond corner of your memory clutched onto them?
Tell me about them.
Well, I don't remember much about them, Danny. They've been out of the business a long time. The 3 tornadoes, huh? Well, there were 3 of them.
Thanks. There was no one else connected to them.
Oh, no. The tornadoes ran their own carny. Toured the villages and the metropolises.
Patsy, you got a reputation for remembering every act that ever played a circus or carnival. What were their names?
Oh, you put me on my mettle, boy. Now, let me see. There was Jimmy Dorn. Yeah, I think. Oh, could he be the one who ended up under a subway this morning?
I'll look into it. Who were the others, Patsy?
Well, there was a fellow named, let's see now, a Russian kind of a name, Danilov. Yeah, that's it, Joe Danilov.
Joe Danilov. And the 3rd?
Oh, now you're pressing me, boy. The 3rd was a man named, let me see, Brady? No. That wasn't it.
Could it have been Brody?
Brody, that's it. Well, how'd you know, Danny?
Brody, it's a short jump. I'll try real hard. You're sure there was no one else connected with the act?
Well, now come to think of it, there was another guy.
Yeah?
He backed the show, I think. His name doesn't register, Danny.
This guy whose name doesn't register. Was it you?
Oh, are you kidding? I had nothing to do with the tornado.
Well, thanks a lot. You're a gentleman and a scholar, Patsy. And a liar. I left Patsy there waving his jaw at nothing, which was about what I had. Nothing. An ex-carnival performer wins $17,000 and dies under the wheels of a subway train. They say he jumped. Why should he do a fatal thing like that? Why should Patsy lie to me? A one-sheet poster said, Patsy Mack presents the 3 whirling tornadoes. Patsy had just told me he had nothing to do with the tornadoes. Well, there's another guy I know, in another place I know. His name's Pop, and he takes care of the file room of a magazine. Magazine that tells a lot about people, especially if the people are show people. The file room was deserted except for Pop.
What you doing down here, Danny?
Wrangling, Pop. Oh, you don't have to hide that comic book from me.
My wife packs it with my lunch, Danny. Now, you take this one.
Yeah.
Sandra, the Jungle Queen. Ain't she a honey? Makes a man with me.
Yeah, she's keen. What are you holding on a guy named Joe Danilov, Pop?
Take a second to find out. How was that name again?
Danilov, Pop. D for doll, A for avenue, N for...
Avenue N?
Yeah, avenue N, Pop.
Yeah, got it. Only, you didn't spell it right, Denny.
You didn't let me finish.
Didn't need to. Here's the file on Joe Danilov, all right. Only it's D for dead.
Let me see that. Joe Danilov, ex-carnival performer, a member of the 3 tornadoes, was found dead today at the bottom of an elevator shaft. Danilov left no survivors, his wife having died a year ago. Hey, how about this?
How about what?
Listen, a week before his death, Danilov came out of obscurity to win a cross-country motorcycle race with a purse of $1,000.
So he made funeral expenses.
That's hot news, huh?
Last night, another man, a man named Jimmy Dorn, came out of obscurity to win a lot of money. He died, too. 2 whirling tornadoes all played out, one after another.
You know something, Danny?
What?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, sorry, Pop. I was playing with a jigsaw puzzle.
Well, you sit right down there and do just that. I'm going upstairs for some coffee. You want some? Coffee, Daddy. Want some?
Yeah, your coffee. Be nice, Pop.
I'll just be a few minutes. Don't let anybody kidnap Sandra in the jungle.
Yeah. 2 whirling tornadoes. The third one named Brody. Maybe you'll blow away, too. Brody and the bitter widow Dawn, and Patsy Mack, the sweet guy who told lies. That you, Pop? I never knew what it was that slugged me on the back of my head. It wasn't a comic book. And whoever did it wasn't Pop. Just before I hit the floor, I had a flash. It wasn't Sandra, the Jungle Queen, either. You are listening to Broadway's My Beat with Larry Thor as Detective Danny Clover. A number of paying guests mysteriously disappear. 2 elderly spinsters who entertain them have a suspiciously rising bank account. And it's a murder farm story for Casey, crime photographer, to explore on CBS Tonight. Also on CBS Tonight, you'll hear the network's famous series, Escape, in place of Suspense, while Suspense is on summer leave of absence. Tonight's opener on Escape will be John Russell's famous story, The Fourth Man, a tale of a Pacific Islander adrift on a raft with 3 murderous companions. Be sure to hear Murder Farm on Crime Photographer and The Fourth Man on Escape tonight. They come to you on most of these same CBS stations. And now back to Broadway's My Beat. You win a lot of money or die violently or do both, and Broadway will know all about you. You get your name and your picture in the morning editions. Then Broadway won't care anymore. But I care. Maybe it's because I've got a cop's curious mind, but it bothered me why Jimmy Dorn died. So I made it my personal business. And so far, business was rotten. I was on my back when Pop brought me to. It took a little longer to find out that the press clippings I was looking at weren't around. That's a new one. Roll for some old press clippings. This needed thinking. To think, a cop's got to eat. To eat, there's a classy sidewalk cafe on the corner of Broadway and 47th where you stand up to a hot dog and a cup of coffee that dares you. I threw a lump of sugar at it when someone tapped me on the shoulder.
Hello, Danny. Mind if I join you?
Oh, K-Peg, not at all. Grab a napkin.
Danny, somehow you look unsymmetrical today. What happened to your head?
I had it done over.
Oh, you're detectives, always intruding yourselves into violence and danger. Who did it, Danny?
Person or persons unknown.
Oh, you should go home and get some rest.
Yeah, what about you, K-Peg? Don't you get any sleep either?
I am a vain man, Danny. I've been waiting for the noon edition of the news to come out. It has the picture I took of Jimmy Dorn. Look at it, Danny.
Yeah.
Is it not a magnificent reproduction?
Yeah, it's quite a picture. How'd you catch the expression?
For an artist like me, it is a matter of precise timing. But somehow, I feel the caption beneath this picture is not right.
What do you mean?
I feel the caption should not read suicide. It should read murder.
Oh? Makes you say that?
I have captured death in my pictures for a long time, Danny. This is the face of a man whom death was about to touch with murder, not with suicide.
You talk prettier, but you think like a cop.
The elements for murder are 3, Danny. A widow with $17,000, perhaps a boyfriend, and... Wait a minute, Danny. Where are you going? You haven't touched your...
I've got to make a call.
So you can't eat first?
Who calls on a rich widow with onions in his breath? Hey, you up there. You at the window.
Who, me?
Yeah, you.
Oh, hello.
Hello. Mrs. Dorn, isn't she home?
You want somebody, mister?
Mrs. Dorn. I've been ringing your bell. Where is she?
Oh.
You know where Mrs. Dorn went? There's no light downstairs.
Her?
Yeah, her.
Oh, sure, she had a date for across the street.
What?
For across the street, mister. The Eagle Tavern. I saw her go in there with a guy.
The Eagle Tavern took up 40 front feet of sidewalk, and its insides were designed to take up thousands of man-hours of loneliness. Right now, there were only 3 lonely people. The bartender, Mrs. Dorn, and Brody. Mrs. Dorn and Brody were standing at the end of the bar trying real hard. I hated to do it, but I decided to ruin their evening for them.
You don't know when to quit, do you, Clover? Why do you keep coming around?
Like I was saying, Mrs. Dorn.
What are you drinking, Mac?
Nothing at all.
Yeah, you can nurse that a long time.
Mr. Clover, look. Please, we don't want any trouble. We got all the
It's this way, Mrs. Dorn. A long time ago, a man named Joe Daniloff fell down an elevator shaft and was killed. Seems like he was nobody until he won a motorcycle race. Then he got his name in the papers. Then he died. What does that do to you?
What should it do to her?
I'll try a refresher. Joe Daniloff was a whirling tornado. He belonged in your husband's act, Mrs. Dorn. Try to react on that.
I don't know what you're talking about.
You got your reaction, Clover. Now blow.
Mrs. Dorn, you know your husband just might have been murdered.
No.
Try it, Mrs. Dorn. Consider it.
You've got no manners at all. All you've got is a loose mouth.
Wait a minute, Brody. The man said somebody might have killed Jimmy. Do you think so, Brody?
This guy's trying to put poison in your brain, Lily. Don't listen to him.
You think I shouldn't, huh?
Why should you listen to you, Brody?
Go read a book, copper. Go read a book and find out why I should hang around a woman who's married to my best friend, Jimmy Dorn.
Maybe you're waiting for him to die.
He did, didn't he?
Yeah. I never thought of it before. Jimmy's dead, and that makes you number 1 boy to a lady who just inherited $17,000.
That'll teach you, Lily. That'll teach you not to talk like that.
Talking to a woman's easy, Brody. This'll be a little...
Hey, what are you doing? Hey, you can't fight in here. I'm running a decent joint.
Stop it!
Lily, I'm sorry. Don't cry, Lily. Please don't.
Talk to him, Brody. Tell him what he wants to know. Tell him what you never told me. What happened back there 10 years ago? Why were you and Jimmy always hiding? Tell him, Brody. Tell him.
Take off, copper. You've done your bit. Take off and feel filthy about the whole thing.
Sure. Only you fascinate me, Brody. If you didn't shove Jimmy Dorn in front of a subway train, what keeps you alive? First Joe Daniloff, then Jimmy. There's hardly a breeze left of the 3 whirling tornadoes. What's keeping you alive, Brody? Now there was a guy I just had to see. K-Pax. There was a chance he had taken more than one picture of Dorn. Maybe in the background I'd see a familiar face. Out in Sea Beach near Coney Island, I found the door with K-Pax's name on it.
Oh, it's you, Danny. Come in.
I didn't want to disturb you, K-Pax, but I just wondered if you took any more pictures of Dorn besides the one that ran in the news.
Oh, I am not like other photographers, Danny, who take dozens of pictures to get one good one. I take only one, and it is always perfection.
So the one in the news is the only one?
Yes. It is important that there should be other ones?
It might have been. Well, it's quite a gallery you have on the wall.
Yes. Come look, Danny, come look. This one, Danny. This girl who looks like a tired angel on a lonesome street.
Yeah, nice.
And look, and this one, a derelict asleep in the gutter. It has the texture and the lighting of a Rembrandt, no?
K-Pax, a man of your talent could live in a penthouse with dancing. Why do you live here?
I get some of my best results here.
Yeah, everybody gets some. Hey, you must have got there fast for this picture.
Oh, that one, yes. Well, you know my deal with the police. The minute anything violent happens, I go out with you. I get a picture. You get a body.
Who was he?
That is a man who was once Joe Daniloff.
Daniloff, huh?
Yes. I took this picture just after he fell down the elevator shaft. The mood of finality was magnificent.
Very dramatic, K-Pax. Daniloff was one of the 3 whirling tornadoes. Did you know that?
So? Well, to me, Daniloff was simply a man who fell down into space and died. The picture captures the sensation, don't you think? The down-sweeping lines, the shadows like a dark caress, the broken form like some grotesque passion. Everything neat, everything.
I don't think K-Pax even saw me open the door and leave. It's a long subway ride and a transfer back to Broadway. Coming up from an underground of naked concrete into the blare of 49th Street, well, there's a magic to it. I didn't have time to enjoy it. I had a job to do, and a chance to take. And the chance paid off. Patsy Mack was in his office working late.
Okay, Danny, so I lied to you about my connection with the tornadoes. And why not? First Joe Daniloff, then Jimmy Dorn. Next, maybe me. Why should I take a chance?
They were accidents, the people say.
Oh, not just accidents. Danny, not that kind.
Tell me, Patsy, why do you think you'll be next?
I don't know. Just looks like everybody connected with the tornadoes is written down in a little black book.
Tell me more, Patsy.
This time I'm leveling, Danny. Once I managed the tornadoes, but I dropped them like they were a basket of snakes.
Why? What did they do?
Remember, I told you there was another guy, their backer?
Yeah.
Well, he got sick. He went to a sanitarium. While he was there, the tornadoes robbed him of everything he ever had.
All three of them did that?
Yes. Danilov, Brody, and Jimmy Dorn.
Danilov and Dorn are gone. That leaves only Brody, plus the widow Dorman, $17,000. Were you ever in a sanitarium, Patsy?
No. But they might put me away for slugging a cop. Oh, what do you want me to do, Danny? Cross my heart and hope to die?
Nothing easier than that. Use your phone for me.
Anything for a friend, Danny. But you are my friend, aren't you, Danny?
Call Billboard for me.
Oh, what?
Personal ad, Patsy. A personal ad on the front page where a guy in the show business would be sure to see it. You phrase it.
Phrase what?
Just this. Anyone connected with the act, the whirling tornadoes, meet at the entrance to Crescent Midway on Coney Island tomorrow night at 11. Have information to wind up affairs of the tornadoes. Phone that in, Patsy.
Because you say so, friend?
Because the police say so. And Patsy.
Yeah?
Sign your name to it. So I had it all set up. This case had murder in it, and I was pretty sure I knew who the murderer was. It was a matter of supplying a pigeon. That was me. The next day, two things happened. The ad was on the front page of Billboard, and rain came. When I hit Coney Island 10:30 that night, it was a wet desert. Neon reflections and stragglers and empty rides. The place was shadows on field paint and shadows on shadows. I had to spot the killer before he spotted me. So I picked one of the darkest places under the framework of the roller coaster and walked into it. I really walked into it.
Danny! There's such a night you picked to enjoy Coney Island. On a night like this, it is a dismal alley.
I'm in a dismal mood, K-Peck, and that gun you're holding doesn't make it any brighter.
It gives me the bravery to give orders to a policeman.
You shoot me, you'll be out of character, K-Peck. How are you going to make it look like an accident?
I have other ideas. First, I put my gun in my hand in my pocket. Now I say to you, let's go. Walk, Danny, walk.
You know, K-Peck, I think you loused up the job. A long time ago, you told me everything was neat and perfection. You forgot to tell me you put up the dough for the whirling tornadoes before you went to the sanitarium. So you killed Danilov and Dorn. But Brody gets away, huh?
Brody in time, policeman. But first you and I take a ride on a roller coaster.
Yeah. I was wondering how you'd manage it.
Neat and perfection, Danny. Now get on. I'll pay for the tickets when the ride is over. In here, Danny. You get in the first car. I'll sit in the car behind you.
How are you going to work this, K-Peck? You going to slug me and heave me over? Like I said, you can't shoot me. Then it wouldn't look like an accident.
In a few seconds, when we get to the top, you will see. And I'll keep your hands to your sides, Danny. That's better.
Going to get a picture of this one, too, K-Peck?
When we get to the top, you will see.
The top was 2 seconds away.
Now, Danny, stand up. Stand up.
I stood up. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw him rise,
See
too.
how I
Take the
make
gun
it
out of
look
his
like an
pocket, its
accident,
barrel in
Danny?
his fist. His arm came up in a wide arc, and that was the break I was waiting for. His body arched forward to strike. I twisted, grabbed his hand and elbow, and threw.
Let go of me, Danny!
How long can a roller coaster ride last? Long enough. Long enough to piece together the jagged edges of some frightened lives. Danilov and Dorn murdered. Murdered because they'd crossed a twisted man named K-Peck. Brody and Patsy Mack hugging the shadows because they were afraid of K-Peck's revenge. And Lily Dorn with a handful of dust and dollars.
You pay for the ride here, mister. Hey, you didn't take that ride all by yourself.
Yeah. A little while later, an ambulance came and picked up the dead, broken body of K-Peck. They took a picture of him, too. I caught a ride back to Broadway in a prowl car. stretches out in front of you, this street called Broadway, like a midway to some cruel and fantastic circus. And you're the performer. You can walk the high wire or play it safe in a cage. Me? I guess my dodge is the wire. And the gaudiest, the most violent, the lonesomest mile in the world. Broadway. My beat. Broadway's My Beat, with Larry Thor as Detective Danny Clover, is produced and directed by Gordon T. Hughes, with script by Morton Fine and David Friedkin. Musical direction is by Lud Bluffkin. Be sure to join us again next week, same time, same station, for Broadway's My Beat. In just a few minutes on most of these same CBS stations, you'll be hearing the familiar strains of Someday I'll Find You. And the action, as you know, starts with Mr. Keene, the famed tracer of lost persons. A top-rating detective throughout radio's fall, winter, and spring seasons, Mr. Keene will be on hand all summer. So don't miss one of his great cases these Thursday nights on CBS. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
If you want the well-groomed look that helps you get ahead, socially and on the job, listen. Recently, thousands of people from coast to coast who bought Wild Root Cream Oil for the first time were asked, how does Wild Root Cream Oil compare with the hair tonic you previously used? Better than 4 out of 5 who replied said they preferred Wild Root Cream Oil. And no wonder. Wild Root Cream Oil grooms the hair neatly and naturally, relieves annoying dryness, and removes loose dandruff. What's more, non-alcoholic Wild Root Cream Oil is the only leading hair tonic that contains soothing lanolin. So ask for Wild Root Cream Oil Hair Tonic. Again and again, the choice of men who put good grooming first. By the way, smart girls use Wild Root Cream Oil too, and mothers say it's grand for training children's hair.
Stay tuned to HOJO Radio.
Flash Gun Casey, press photographer. Out of a big city's roaring life, out of a great newspaper's pounding heart, come the exciting adventures of a man with a camera. Flash Gun Casey, press photographer. Columbia presents a new adventure character, Flash Gun Casey, press photographer. Tough, daring, typical of the men who often risk their lives so that you may see the news as well as read it. Their salaries are not large, and they seldom get much credit. But their lives are packed with danger and thrills. Tonight and every Wednesday night at this time, Columbia invites you to follow the story of Flash Gun Casey and the people who pass in swift-moving parade before the shutters of his camera. Tonight's story, the case of the switched plate. The clock in the tower of the Express building reads exactly 7 p.m. In the city room, Ed Burt, the night city editor, is arguing with Casey, a tall, powerfully built man who is carrying a plate case and a camera.
Quit griping, Casey. You've got your pictures. I'll go develop them. Okay, but for the last time, don't send me to any more weddings. I hate weddings. Tell me that when you marry. That day ever arrives, I'll see that it's a private one, not an Easter parade. A lot of big shots there, huh? Stage, screen, and radio. I was knee-deep in celebrity. Did Ann Williams cover the story okay? I guess so. My job was to take pictures of the clam bake, not to write about it. Many a guy would give a month's salary to be in the same room with Gloria Dolores. Ouch. What's the matter now? That name, Gloria Dolores. I wonder who dug that one up. Miss Dolores is one of our most famous movie stars. With all that's going on in the world today, a mere wedding is unimportant.
whenever a woman like Miss Dolores gets married, it's not a mere wedding. And I hope you got some good shots.
White satin and orchid fairly drips from the lens.
And the Express would like to use those pictures sometime tonight, if you don't mind.
Okay, but if the public never sees it...
Story in the Dolores wedding, Mr. Dick.
Thanks, Ann.
That's what I mean. The story of the Dolores one. The poor guy doesn't count. Already he's missed the Dolores.
How did the pictures turn out?
He wouldn't know. He's been too busy arguing against that wonderful institution known as marriage.
I'm not arguing against it. I only say send someone else when our dear paper wants pictures of the happy... Our dear paper...
We'll cover a lot of assignments like the Dolores wedding.
That doesn't mean I'll have to like him any better.
You mean you'd rather be taking pictures of pumpkins?
Are you kidding?
But Miss Dolores did look sweet, didn't? Did look
Yeah. And so did the groom, Mr. Dolores. Knocking at my door. Well, come on in, William. Hey, not so wide. You're letting in too much light.
Oh, sorry. Back in here.
That's why they call it a dark.
Really? How are the pictures, Sonny?
I just put them in the suit. Faces and figures should be showing any moment now.
And the Dolores like that. I'd give anything to look back there.
You hold your own.
Sure.
And stop whispering. I don't know why everyone does that when they come into one of these rooms. See, you won't stop them. They'll develop...
Oh, okay, Mr. Casey,
Hey,
okay.
Wait a minute, my ear.
Here's Sigmund. He has a marvelous smile, doesn't he?
If you say so. Here's $100 million up. Hey, what's this?
Whatever it is, it's not a wedding.
Oh. Looks like a workshop or something.
Look, here's another one. A long room filled with odd-looking machines.
Yeah. And here's a close-up of one. I never took these. How'd they get in my camera?
Somebody took them.
Yeah. Well, get this. Some guy running work. Well, he's running right toward the lens.
Yeah, he looks mad.
Uh-oh.
Recognize it?
No, but I do everything else. Or I think I do. These pictures are of the Hartley Laboratories.
Oh, he's the inventor, isn't he?
One of the greatest. He's a regular estate. 6 or 7 buildings on the place. Conducts all his experiments there. Hey, this looks like a machine shop.
I suppose a lot of people would like to nose around there.
You can say that again. But they're not allowed to. All their work is done in secrecy. Hartley even has his own private guard. They won't allow a camera within a mile of the place.
I send a guy to take pictures of a wedding, and he comes back with the Hartley Laboratory.
But I tell you, I never took those shots. You think I'm crazy?
I know. And the ones of the wedding, you didn't take those either.
No, someone picked up my plate case by mistake. I got his. See? It's almost exactly like mine.
The gentleman was very careless.
It was a natural mistake. Why, we were stumbling over each other. That shindig was represented by every news photographer in town.
Not forgetting the ones from the magazine.
Yeah.
Well, whoever he is, I'm glad he didn't hold the laboratories to an exclusive. At least he took some pictures of the wedding, too. Well, we'll have to run them. I doubt if that plate case of yours will ever turn up.
I'll get it back.
You're lucky you didn't walk off with your camera.
And that must be like mine, too. Hey, look, Burke, this is serious. The guy who took these pictures had no right being on that property.
I suppose I don't know that.
Well, what's so funny?
I'm thinking how surprised the guy was when he developed your pictures. All that glamour and no machine.
You know, what I can't understand is this man here. He's running right toward the camera.
Yes, that is odd. It looks as though he would... Hey, wait a minute. Who were you near at the wedding, Casey?
I've been trying to think. Blake, the Star, is a good man.
Yeah?
Raymond of the Inquirer. John's a fashion magazine.
Mm-hmm.
The four of us sort of stuck together, moving around, taking shots of the other celebrities as well. Oh, but it couldn't be one of them.
Why not?
I've known them for years. They wouldn't take a chance like that.
Some guys that sell their souls for a little dough. I'll take this. Burke speaking. Yeah? What? That's very interesting. About 6 hours ago, eh? Thanks. Okay, I'll switch you to a rewrite. Dixon, take this. That was Kelly.
Kelly, who covers the police?
Yeah. They just found a plainclothes guard out at Hartley Laboratories. 2 bullets in his chest. Killed about 6 hours ago. Does that mean anything to you, Casey?
Yeah, it does now. He's the guy here in the picture. He was running to stop that camera. And in the excitement, our photographer got him on the film before he shot him.
Yeah, that's the way it adds up. Well, get out there and see if we're right. And check on your friends, Blake, Raymond, and Johns. And be careful. It'll be much easier for him to finish off his second victim. And from where I sit, you look like the next prospect.
What a beautiful woman. Miss Dolores looks extremely lovely. The guests charming. The ballroom and tables beautifully decorated. But I can't see where any of it helps me.
But I've explained, Mr. Koch. I never took those pictures.
Then who did?
Well, I don't know.
But I suppose you do know that he has the ones you took.
Well, he must have.
And likely is no doubt developed by now.
I don't remember my plate case being out of my hands for a moment.
A moment would be enough.
Well, there's no way they can trace it to me. I'm safe.
Are you? Took us a long time to arrange getting a man in there. I mean, at a time when he could work with a camera and not be interrupted. That opportunity won't come again.
And I suppose it's useless to ask for money?
Quite, you failed. Well, I greatly appreciate looking at this very lovely actress. I would much more appreciate looking at the photographs you lost. Especially the ones of that new fog-penetrating machine. I know 2 corporations would pay $100,000 for that.
I've never failed before.
And you've always been paid before. I was listening to my radio just before you came in. You know the guard that you eliminated has been found?
He came out of nowhere, running toward me.
And you stopped his running, huh?
Yes, I had to. I think his picture's on one of the plates.
Very clever. Do you always photograph your victims before doing away with them?
I never killed anybody before.
Please, such a harsh word.
Well, I never did. I didn't think I'd ever have to.
The first one does leave you a trifle shaken. After that, you become used to it. But if you'd brought the photographs directly to me...
But I had to be at that wedding, Mr. Koch. As it was, I barely made it.
Yes, of course, your job, which is such a wonderful blind. Tell me, how did it feel walking into all that luxury immediately after disposing of a life? Rather not talk about it, huh? 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 I wonder what your employers would do if they even dreamed of the pictures you sometimes take with their cameras.
Remember, that was my idea. The same camera for both my ordinary work and the work I do for you. That way no one will ever become suspicious.
No? I don't doubt that someone is at this very moment. And he knows that the photographer is not only a thief, but also, shall we say, someone who doesn't hesitate to stop another breathing.
Hey, you're right. But how's he going to know it's me?
Well, maybe he won't, but if one of your picture-taking friends should start to ask questions, no matter how subtly put, be careful.
I will.
And if he should become too inquisitive, you can always handle him as you did the guard. Yes, when that gentleman makes his appearance, remember, he's the man who has your bag. And you've been left holding one. You've been left holding one.
It was the same guy, all right. The murderer rolled his body against the wall and put a machine cover over him.
Now, wait. They didn't let you in, did they?
No, but I talked to the man who found him. Also to a couple of Logan's men.
Who's Logan?
Lieutenant Logan of the homicide squad.
Oh, did you tell them about the pictures?
Yeah. And every photographer I could think of who covered the wedding. I left the plate case with them. They'll try to trace it.
A lot of good that'll do.
Yeah, there's thousands of those cases.
What about your pals, Blake, Raymond, and Johns?
They're not pals. Just guys I bump into making the rounds.
But you've known them a long time.
Yeah.
Well, what do you really know about them?
They all have cameras and plate cases like mine.
I mean personal.
That's personal.
Now, look, this is no time
all
for...
All right.
If you two feel like using some stronger language, I can always leave the room.
Oh, forget it, Williams, forget it.
Blake is married. He has 2 kids. I found him at home reading Our Hearts Were Young and Gay.
I wish ours were. Well, go on.
He was sort of surprised to see me, as I don't usually make those little social visits.
We know you're a strict lay nightclub guy.
Quiet. Anyway, I asked him what he'd been doing before the wedding.
With finesse, I hope.
I'm always subtle.
Yeah, like a tank. And what was Mr. Blake doing?
Roaming around?
Oh, fine.
You see, that guard was murdered around 2 o'clock. The wedding took place at 3. The reception at 4. So the guy who
You
did
don't
it...
have to draw a blueprint. Where did you find Raymond of the Enquirer?
At a bar.
Raymond of the Enquirer.
At a bar.
Raymond of the Enquirer.
At a bar.
With a blonde.
No, redhead.
Not
the one you know, Bert.
Oh.
There are a lot of redheads in the world.
And what had he been doing prior to 3 o'clock?
Roaming around.
That's just dandy. Just dandy. And John's of the fashion magazine.
Also found at a bar. The one at the fantasy club.
Alone.
Yeah, but his girlfriend works there. And early this afternoon...
Now, wait.
Was...
Don't tell me. Don't tell me. Let me guess. Don't tell me. Let me guess. He was roaming around.
Right.
Not an alibi in the bunch.
I still can't believe one of them did it. But it must be. It must be. Well, I found 2 of them at bars, and that's where I'm going.
Can I tag along, Casey?
Where I'm going.
Can I tag along, Casey?
Why not?
Down the Blue Note, huh?
Yeah.
Where's that?
It's a musician.
Where's that?
It's a musician's hangout. Casey always goes there when he wants to think. When he wants to think. When he wants to think. They have a piano player there. They have a piano player with his nerve.
And sometimes helps me solve a problem.
Well, I hope he can help you with this one. And well, I hope he can help you with this one. And well, I hope he can help you with this one. And well, I hope he can help you with this one. And you'd better warn Williams about that bartender.
Yeah. His name is Ethelbert. And he reads the Atlantic Monthly in Lord Dunsany. And he's tough. Sometimes he has to be the bouncer, but you'll enjoy him.
I expected to hear a jam session going on.
It's only 11:30. The musicians don't roll in here until they're through work.
Oh.
Want to sit at the bar?
Fine.
Ethelbert, put down that New Republic and give us some service.
Hiya, Flash Gun.
Service.
New Republic? Look.
One World. How do you find it?
Great. It says here on page...
I've read the book.
But maybe it didn't absorb it.
I did. It's excellent. Hey, what are you looking at? Did you ever see a pretty girl before?
Not that pretty.
Well, thank you, Ethelbert.
This is Ann Williams, Ethelbert. She's new on the Express. I'm showing her the sights.
Fill a V.
Beer. Williams?
Same.
2 beers.
I'm surprised that you find time to read a book.
Yeah. Right now I'm surprised, but not about that. Blake, Raymond, John. Has to be one of them, but why?
Well, what they were after must be worth a fortune.
Yeah, they wouldn't talk about it out there today.
2 beers, no heads on them.
Thanks, Ethelbert.
What'd you think of Thomas Paine, Flash Gun?
He was a very great man.
Yeah. Quote, "These are the times which try men's souls." Unquote. I know all about Thomas Paine, Miss Williams.
I'm going over the piano. Want to come along?
Listen, Flash Gun.
It's not that I don't want to lend you an ear, Ethelbert, but I have a lot on my mind. Maybe Ernie and his music can help straighten me out.
Well, I'll stay put and hear about the famous revolutionary figure.
Thanks, Miss Williams.
I said you'd enjoy it.
As you no doubt know, Miss Williams, Thomas Paine was not an American.
Hello, Ernie.
Hiya.
Slow night?
Not too good. What's on your mind?
Plenty.
Anything you'd like to hear?
Nope. As long as you stick to the old ones.
We agree on that. Remember this one?
Yeah, sure. Confessing.
Uh-huh.
The late 20s. Maybe earlier.
That's right.
Well, that world's gone.
Yep. But we still have the song.
Yeah. And sometimes that's all we have.
Pretty girl you left at the bar?
Yeah. Ann Williams, reporter. Only been in town a few weeks.
Thinking, aren't you?
And getting nowhere fast.
Want to talk about it?
I can't.
Nicest looking girl I've ever seen you with. You ought to marry, Casey.
How about yourself?
I tried it once.
And?
She left me.
Just like that?
Just like that. You see, I didn't make enough money. She wanted too much.
And, she met a guy who had it?
That's right. Yeah. Funny the way a guy thinks when he's losing a woman. There's nothing he wouldn't do for her. To give her the things she wants, he'd almost commit murder.
Some guys do.
Yeah. What's the matter, Casey? Did I say something?
I think you did.
You going?
Yeah. And thanks, Ernie. You've been a great help. I may see you later on.
It's as I was saying, Miss Williams, sometimes I have to throw a guy out, but it ain't like it was in the old days.
No?
No. Then they threw me out.
Look, Williams, I've got to run along. You go back to the office and tell Bert I'll see him in an hour or so.
Where are you going?
To see a dame at the Fantasy Club, and you can't come. Ethelbert, Williams will pay for my beer. Okay, Mara. Turn your head a little to the left. That's it. Hold it now.
Oh, I closed my eyes.
You only thought so. Anyway, we'll take another one to make sure.
All right. I'm awfully glad you dropped around, Kate.
So am I.
I saw you sitting at the table out front while I was doing my number. I didn't think you came to take my picture.
Of course, it's no novelty for you to have your picture taken. You sit for Hal a lot.
Mm-hmm. Once a week regularly.
It must be love.
Oh, it's still nice to have someone else photograph me. How's this?
Fair?
Oh, not as attractive as Mr. Lawrence?
Oh, you're different types.
Hal tells me it was quite a wedding.
Yeah. Were you with Hal before he went to it?
No, he was working.
I know, but I thought you might have had lunch together.
Not today. This better?
Yeah, fine. But don't cross your legs.
Oh.
And don't smile. We'll make this one sort of pensive.
Oh, I couldn't look pensive if I tried.
Think of green fields and moonlight nights.
All right, but I still won't look pensive.
Hold it. That does it. Look for them in the express.
How many did you take altogether?
7.
Can I have a set?
Sure. I'll drop them over to the towers. That's where you live, isn't it?
Uh-huh.
Expensive.
Perhaps we could have lunch together.
And get Hal to sort me?
We wouldn't have to have lunch there.
As far as that goes, we could have it here.
Yeah.
I never thought the Fantasy Club would have dressing rooms like this. This dressing room looks more like an apartment.
Just a few personal touches that I've added.
Just a few personal touches, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Very elaborate. And those rocks I've been photographing on your lovely arms. They almost reached the elbows. They're real, I imagine.
Everything I wear is real.
I noticed that mink you were sporting around this past winter.
Do you like it?
Swell. Those foxes over there are nice, too. Oh, gosh, it must be great to have an income.
Are you kidding?
Well, you don't buy those things singing at nightclubs.
At least not one like this.
Why do you work in a nightclub, Mara? Apparently you don't have to.
Oh, I like to be seen, and it's something to do. I don't have to tell you I'm not much as a singer.
But you're really something to look at.
Oh, thanks. Then, we have a date for lunch?
If it weren't for Hal, I wouldn't hesitate a moment.
Oh, forget Hal.
I'd like to marry sometime. How long have you two been going together?
Almost 2 years.
That's amazing.
Why? He's very generous.
Yeah, I can see that.
I like to live well. You don't know what it is not to have anything.
Oh, don't I?
I'd rather be dead than to live like some people.
Nothing but the best for you, huh, Mara?
Oh. Don't you think I deserve it?
Mm-hmm. But so do thousands of other girls in the world. There are girls who haven't even enough to eat.
Are you giving me a lecture?
No, but that's why we're not going to have lunch together. You're too expensive for me.
Perhaps for you, I wouldn't be too expensive.
It wouldn't last. You'd miss those lovely gifts that Hal passes out.
I still don't see any reason why we shouldn't see each other once in a while.
By the way, where is Hal?
Oh, he usually drops in around this time. Shall I tell him you were here?
Well, why not?
Would you like to wait for him?
No, I'll run along. I think I'll develop these pictures tonight.
Oh, that's wonderful.
The Express thanks you, and I thank you.
Do you think one of them might be on the theatrical page tomorrow?
The theatrical page? You underrate old Casey. There's a possibility you'll find one on the front page. So long. Hiya, Benny. Any payphones here?
Yeah, 2 of them over there by the checkbook.
Oh, thanks.
Bert speaking.
Hello, Bert.
Casey, what do you think we're printing? The Boy's Companion? Where are you?
Phone booth at Benny's Fantasy Club. I just got some shots for the morning papers. And if I were you, I'd leave plenty of space on the front page.
Well, you'd better get back here with something soon, or I'll hold a 4-line spread in the obituary for you. What are the pictures? And what suspect is to have the benefit of your latest brainwave?
I just shot some pictures of the suspect's girlfriend. I'm on my way down to develop them. Now, unless I miss my guess, you'll be writing to the end of this story in tomorrow's paper. And by the way, you'd better get one of Logan's men down there. The way things look right now, Oh, hold on a minute. Here comes our friend. I think he's going to make a call in the booth next to me. Maybe I can catch part of it. Hold it.
Hello, Mr. Koch. He talked to me earlier tonight, and then took some pictures of Mara. For his paper, he told me. But why at 1 a.m? No, I'm certain he's the one. Okay. Yeah, I'll be careful. Where'll I come for the money? Above your antique shop on Sedgwick Avenue. You mean I've got to take care of him tonight? What do you think I'm made of? It was only this afternoon that I know, Mr. Koch, but I never expected that to happen. All right. If you think so, I'll do it tonight. Now.
Hello, Brick. Did you hear that?
You moronic offspring of a printer's devil. You had your hand over that mouthpiece.
Of course I had my hand over the mouthpiece. Think I want you to take all the credit? Now get this. Send several of Logan's men over to Koch's antique shop on Sedgwick Avenue. Mr. Koch will be in the apartment upstairs. Pick him up. And I may need one of Logan's men while I'm developing these pictures.
After all the runaround you've given Logan, you know how he'll feel about sending a man out to protect you.
Okay, but you know what happens to your story if they miss Koch and our friend gets me?
Well, Logan will probably take that chance, but I'll ask him. And I doubt if a man could have time to get here anyway.
If that's the way it is, maybe you better frame that obituary in purple satin under glass. For me. So long. Dark room is very dark, and Casey's in the dark, and this isn't the love. You're letting in a lot of light, Hal.
Afraid it'll spoil Mara's pictures?
Yeah. You want to see him?
No.
Why turn on the light?
I might miss you in the dark.
You seem to know your way around. What'd you do? Come up the back stairs?
I've been in the express building before.
Lonely at 2 a.m, isn't it? And it's pretty steady.
So you finally noticed what it's holding?
I noticed it when you first opened the door. But, relax. Relax, Hal. We're old friends. John's the fashion magazine and Casey the Express. Just a couple of guys around town.
Cut it.
That the same gun you used on the guard?
In one respect, it doesn't make much noise.
I see.
What made you suspect me, Casey?
I could have sworn that was coming. Why is it that all criminals insist on knowing why they were suspected? Well, if it'll gladden your heart, honey, I'll tell you. It was a piano player. He said something which made me think of you and Mara. Then I thought of your salary as a photographer.
You made a mistake when you went back to the fantasy club the second time, Casey. You shouldn't have tried to pump Mara.
Doesn't she know what you're doing?
No.
Where'd you think the money came from?
She never asked.
Just as long as it came in, huh? But I don't think it was a mistake. I gambled that Mara would repeat our conversation word for word, except the part where I wouldn't take her to lunch.
You're lying.
Oh, no. Incidentally, the police picked up a friend of yours about 15 minutes ago. Name of Koch. Antique dealer over on the east side. Oh, I see that one hit home, huh? Well, you're all through, Hal.
Later, maybe, but right now you are.
Easy on the trigger finger. You should hear it all. The big mistake is yours in coming here. I never had any evidence against you. Any real evidence. But I have now.
You'll never use it.
I've already used it. It's been used right now. You walk in this room staring straight at me with a gun in your hand. You should have looked behind the door. There's been a witness in this room all the time. In fact, right behind you now.
You think I'd fall for that whole gag?
It's not a gag.
You must think I'm dumb.
I guess you heard enough. Okay, have Logan come in.
You'll be dead when he gets here.
Ann, where did you get that blackjack?
From Ethelbert. Quote, he who gets sucked over the bean is easy to arrest. Unquote.
Put down that American Mercury, Ethelbert, and draw me a beer.
It's not the American Mercury. It's...
I know. It's still one world.
Hiya, Miss Williams.
Hello, Ethelbert. Oh, thanks for the loan of the persuader.
That's all right. She was really worried when you tore out of here, Casey.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Been busy, Ethelbert?
I had to break away from this book for a while tonight, but I managed to sandwich in a very interesting article.
Would you mind drawing my beer for me, Ethelbert? I want to sit over by Ernie and listen to a couple of numbers.
Not at all. But this article was about guys who steal industrial designs by photographing them. And you know what I think?
What?
Well, just for a starter, understand, they all ought to be socked over the head, but hard. Quote, he who gets clunked over the conch is out of commission and easy to put in the clink. Unquote.
Please, Ethelbert, our beer.
Yes, Ethelbert, our beer. And this time be sure he pays for it.
You've been listening to Flash Gun Casey, Press Photographer, the first of a new series of adventure programs based on the fiction character created by George Harmon Cox. This series is written by Ashley Buck in collaboration with Mr. Cox. The program tonight was directed by Albert Ward and produced for Columbia by Chester Rainier. Join us again next Wednesday night at this same time for another swift-moving story of a press photographer, Flash Gun Casey. The adventure, Murder Off the Record. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
And now, here is your Wheaties man, Frank Martin. Go out and get the Wheaties. It's National Wheaties Week. Yep, this is the week everybody's trying Wheaties. See yourself how Wheaties at 7 can help at 11. A better breakfast beginning with Wheaties can help make a wonderful difference because there's a whole kernel of wheat in every Wheaties flake. So eat happy, work happy. Wheaties, breakfast of champions. Get yours. Get yours. It's National Wheaties Week.
HOJO Radio, where the classics come alive.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
NBC brings you Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to robbery detail. There's a potential killer on the loose in your city. 18 women have been beaten and robbed by this man. The newspapers call him the Werewolf. Your job is to get him.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime investigated and solved by the men who unrelentingly stand watch on the security of your home, your family, and your life. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case, from beginning to end, from crime to punishment. Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Thursday morning, February 2nd. It was raining in Los Angeles. We were working the early morning watch out of robbery detail. Detectives in Los Angeles work in pairs. My partner's Ben Romero. He's a sergeant, and so am I. My name's Friday. The boss is Ed Backstrand, chief of detectives. I was on the way back from the teletype room, and it was 3 a.m. when I got to room 27A. Robbery detail. Hi, Ben. What's up?
Keep your coat on, Joe. Just had a hotshot call. Coming, Skipper?
Right behind you. Let's go, Friday.
Well, what was it, Ed?
Another woman robbed, almost beaten to death.
Well, how many does that make?
About 18 in 6 weeks. Is that right, Skipper?
Yeah, 18 too many. Come on, down these stairs to the garage.
Yeah. What about that suspect we had, Ed?
You mean Martin?
Yeah.
Had to release him this morning. But I got a good tail on him, Henderson.
Yeah. We got any report yet?
Nothing definite to hold him for. Here's the garage. Let's hustle it.
Right.
Then if this isn't Martin's job, Skipper, and he's not the right man...
Then we start all over again, and we work night and day till we find the right man. Here's the car. Let's go.
Ben, you drive.
Yeah, all right.
How do the victims describe this guy, Ed?
Pretty sketchy. Supposed to be tall, dark, long black hair. Last woman said he had a face like an animal, something like a dog or a wolf.
A wolf?
Yeah. She said something like a werewolf.
Something like a werewolf. Well, he almost had to be that, judging from the way he operated. He was either an animal or a raving maniac. One thing we were sure of, he was smart and he was dangerous. For almost 2 months, he'd prowled the streets in a stolen car in the early morning, usually between 3 and 5 a.m. And the victims were always lone women, most of them waitresses, coming to work or going home. He dragged them into the car, robbed them, beat them until they were unconscious, and then throw the body out into the street. That's just what we found when we pulled up to the curb near the corner of 8th and Grand. One cruiser car was already there, and so was the ambulance. About a dozen people were standing around looking at the crumpled figure of a woman sprawled out on the sidewalk. 2 officers were talking to the only witness, a thin, sallow-faced newsboy. His story didn't give us much to go on.
Like I was telling these cops, or these officers, sir, I was walking up 8th Street on my way home as usual when I see this blue Chevy sedan pull up down the block there a little way and dump out the dame's body. Well, actually, I don't know what to think.
You got a look at the license plate?
Well, no, I didn't. To tell you the truth, I could hardly keep from... Well, I was just plain scared.
Hmm.
What did you do after you saw him throw the body out, son? Well, I just stood there for a minute, and the fellow in the car drove right on past me.
Did you get a look at him?
I sure did.
How close were you when he drove past?
Well, now, it couldn't have been more than, 8 or 10 feet away. I was right over there by the street light near the curb.
Would you know this man if you saw him again?
I don't know about his height or his build or his weight, but, mister, his face I'll never forget.
Why do you say that?
It was just like the paper says about him. Right here on the front page. Here, read it. See? Woman says attacker looked like werewolf.
That's all the newsboy could tell us. The suspect drove a blue sedan. He had a face like a werewolf. We covered the neighborhood for clues, and we questioned a dozen people, but we got nowhere. We took the witness's name and address, and we drove down a couple of blocks to an all-night gas station.
14-hour off the Metropolitan.
I'm going in here and call the office and see if Henderson's called in on Martin. We might still have a suspect.
Right, Skipper.
13-hour off the Metropolitan.
Looks as mad as a wet hornet, doesn't it, Joe?
Yeah. Did you get a good look at that woman's face when they moved her in the ambulance?
Yeah. Sure does like to mess him up.
Oh, I don't know how we're going to get him, Ben, but we better do it fast. Next time, it'll probably be murder.
Oh, here comes the skipper, Joe. Uh-oh. Doesn't look good.
What is it, Ed?
Just talked to Henderson. He tailed Martin to a bar in Long Beach. He hasn't been out of his sight for 2 minutes since yesterday. Martin's clear.
And we're right back where we started.
Yeah, with one more half-dead woman in the hospital.
Well, how about that stolen car, Skip?
Wait a minute. Get that radio up.
Attack.
Okay.
Code 3. Ambulance dispatched.
Code?
Attention, all units. On Grand Avenue between Venice and Washington. A woman, victim of robbery and attack. Code 3. Ambulance to task.
Code 3, red light and siren. Come on, Friday, let's roll.
We couldn't be sure, but it sounded like another one. 6 minutes later, we were there. Same story. Werewolf. The next day, the chief ordered the number of cruiser cars doubled in the Central District. This was for the early morning watch with plainclothesmen to back them up. Then the newspapers played it big, and in 2 days, the story was on the front page of every paper in town. Maybe that should have made the werewolf lay low, but it didn't. Because at 4 o'clock that morning, while Ben and I were patrolling with the other cars, he got his 20th victim.
Attention, all units. Whittier between Soto and Matthews. A woman victim of 211, an attack. Code 3. Ambulance dispatched.
Here's a report on that blue sedan he used the other night, Joe. Found it out on Anaheim Telegraph Road.
Any luck with it?
Not one fingerprint we can use.
Anything else?
Nothing.
Well, how about the auto theft detail?
Same old story, Joe. He steals a car, uses it once, and then drops it. Never leaves a thing behind.
Well, that's great. We're sure moving fast.
How about that big guy you picked out of the lineup this morning?
Oh, I checked his alibi. It's perfect.
Now we haven't got even half a clue.
Yeah. Well, come on, let's check with Ed. He's instructing the policewomen on the plan for tonight.
All right. Now you've heard the report. You understand how the suspect operates and what you're to do.
I think so.
Remember, all of you forget you were ever policewomen. Change the way you walk, the way you carry yourselves. That's the part you're playing, all right?
Okay.
And be careful and don't take any chances. All right, Freddy.
Okay, Ed. Now, just to make sure you look the part, we're spotting each one of you at different restaurants and coffee shops throughout the Central District. And from 7 o'clock tonight until daylight tomorrow, each one of you is going to be a waitress. You got that?
Yeah.
Okay, Ben, you want to give them their assignments?
Okay, Joe. Well, here's the way it lines up. Marge Kissel at the Top Hat Cafe. That's on 9th Street between Alpharetta and Westlake.
Okay.
And Katie Wells, Joe's Coffee House, Brooklyn, Soto.
Right.
Pat Fielden at the All-Night Steakhouse on Figueroa Street between Florence
No,
and...
the trick of using decoys to lure criminals into a trap wasn't exactly new, but, well, it was just one of the old tricks that we figured might land the werewolf behind bars. At 7 that night, Ben and I made the rounds and found each of the policewomen on her job as a waitress. Well, the overall plan was simple. The girls were to leave the different restaurants between 3 and 5 a.m. that morning and pretend they were walking home. We mapped different courses for each one of them to throw out as much bait as possible and yet not to make it look suspicious. Each policewoman, from the time she left the restaurant and stepped out into the deserted streets, would be pretty much on her own. We had officers planted all along the way at designated intervals, but a big element of chance and danger was still there. All we could do was cross our fingers and hope.
How much more time, Joe?
Let me see. She's doing 2 minutes.
Yeah. Waiting gets on your nerves.
And it won't be long.
This corner doorway's a pretty good lookout spot.
Yeah. Wait a minute. Listen.
Who is it, Joe? Can you see?
Get back.
What is it?
Wait a minute. It's Marge Kissel. There's a man following her, a big guy.
If it's the werewolf, where's his car?
I don't know. Maybe he changed his plans. Get back. Here they come.
You get a look at him, Joe?
Oh, pretty good. He's not too suspicious. Might be coincidence.
Well, I got a pretty good lead. Come on, let's go.
Stay back in the shadows.
Hey, Joe. So where'd the guy go to? I lost him.
The little coffee shop up in the next corner, see? Take a look.
Oh, yeah. He's opening the door. He's turning on the lights. Yeah. Looks like a false alarm, Joe.
Well, let's check him anyway. Well, I didn't think we'd be that lucky on the first try, and we weren't. We asked the man a few questions, and it didn't take him long to show us he wasn't our man. He owned the coffee shop. So, Ben and I went back and took up our posts again and waited for the next decoy. We covered that 10-block course 6 times that morning, back and forth, following the bait, but it was almost as if the guy could sense a trap. Not once did we get a nibble. By the time our last decoy finished the route, it was almost daylight.
Joe, I never was so glad to see that sun come up in my whole life. My feet feel like they're puffing right up out of my shoes.
Yeah, me too. Come on, let's get over to the car and check on the other squad out in Boyle Heights. Huh? Oh. Hit the radio, will you, Ben?
Yeah. Joe, there must be some easier job on the force than this.
Yeah, you and me both. Now, let's see what happened to the others, huh? 80K to Unit 104K. Come in.
104K to Unit 80K. Go ahead.
104K, this is Friday. You do any good out there?
This is Miller. I'll call Curtis. Stand by.
80K to 104K, Roger.
What do you think, Joe? Maybe a bite?
I don't know. Oh, this guy seems to work like a mind reader. Well, he can't win all of them.
104K to Unit 80K. This is Curtis. Go ahead.
This is Friday, Al. How'd you do out there? Any luck?
Just checked in the last gal, Joe. Eddie Welch, not a sign.
Okay, Al. Have the men check in. 80K clear, KGPL. Okay, let's go, Ben. When we finally got back to the office that morning, both Ben and I were ready for some sleep, but it didn't look like we were going to get it. We just about finished going through the overnight reports for some kind of a lead when the phone rang. Robbery Friday.
Hi, Joe. This is Wilkerson, auto theft.
Hi, Wilkie. You got something for us?
Not much, Joe, but it might work into something. Just got a report in on a pair of stolen license plates.
Oh?
Yeah. I'm not much of a hawkshaw, but I figure there's just a chance it might be your werewolf boy.
How come?
I don't know, maybe just a hunch. After 13 years in this business, you get to know thieves pretty well. Sometimes you got to even think like them.
Okay, Wilkie, thanks. We'll check by in a couple of minutes.
Right, Joe.
What do you have to say?
Pair of license plates stolen last night. Wilkie's got a hunch it could have been our man.
Well, might be an angle, Joe. If that werewolf guy'd hang on to one car long enough, we'd have a chance at him.
Well, he's too smart for that.
I don't know, Joe. Sooner or later, he's going to make a mistake.
Yeah. Come on, let's check with Wilkie. Well, we checked with Wilkerson. We got the best piece of news we'd had in days. On the average, 95% of stolen cars are recovered or located within 24 hours. In the remaining 5%, Wilkerson, by a simple process of elimination, narrowed down the number of cars the suspect might be driving. Wilkie figured 6 cars.
There they are. Now, bet you if you picked up your man tonight, he'd be in one of these cars.
Let me see, huh? 2-door black sedan, yellow convertible, another sedan, green, blue coupe, black coupe, and a gray convertible. Well, that's good work, Wilkie. At least we got something to look for now.
Yeah, you're right, Joe. Wilkie, you got the numbers of those stolen plates you're talking about?
Yeah, right here, Ben. They're already on the hot sheet.
Good. Keep us posted, huh?
As usual, Ben.
See you later, Wilkie.
That's a good break, Ben. Something to keep us busy tonight.
Tonight? What do you mean?
We're setting another trap. Same thing as last night. Same police women, same everything.
Yeah, only this time let's hope he steps into it. You know, Joe, this werewolf character's getting me mad.
That night, we followed in our own footsteps. We planted the policewomen decoys in 3 separate districts, and a few minutes before 3 a.m., our squad of men took up their positions. The same policewomen went to their waitress jobs in the same restaurants, and Ben and I and the rest of the men stood in darkened doorways or empty filling stations or whatever cover we could find. And we waited and waited.
What time is it, Joe?
Let me look. 4:30.
Oh, thank you. Any sign, Joe?
No, nothing yet. Come on, stay in the shadows. That's the way it went all through the early morning. The same plan over and over again until daylight. Ben and I'd check in at the station, go over the late stolen car reports with Wilkie, catch a few hours sleep at home, and then come back and do it all over again. The next night, and the next morning, the night after that, and the morning after that. 5 days later, Ben and I were ready to call it quits.
I'll admit it, Joe, I can't figure it. The guy's either psychic or else he can smell a cop a mile away.
Yeah, well, at least we got that stolen car angle left. Did you check with Wilkie yet this morning?
I'll give him a call now.
All right.
Auto theft, Wilkerson.
This is Ben, Wilkie. Got anything for us this morning?
Yeah, just going to call you. You fellas ought to let me solve your cases for you.
Why? What'd you get?
The boys picked up 3 of those 6 stolen cars since late yesterday.
Great. Now, what does that leave us with?
Well, here are the 3 still missing.
Yeah.
4 X-ray 763.
Yeah.
5-6 Young 342.
Uh-huh.
6-1 Robert 385.
Yeah.
Got those?
Yeah, thank you, Wilkie. Check you later.
Good news?
Remember those 6 missing cars?
Yeah.
Wilkie says the boys found 3 of them since late yesterday. Here's what's still out. The blue coupe, the yellow convertible, and the gray convertible.
Yeah. Well, this feels like the right track for a change, Ben.
Friday, Romero, got a minute?
Sure thing, Skipper. Come on, Joe.
What do you got, Ed?
Woman out in Hollywood just called in with this. She said she walked down to the corner from her house last night to mail a letter. On the way back, a guy pulled up in the car and tried to drag her inside.
Any description?
Big, heavy set, dark, same thing.
Well, how'd you get away from him, Skipper?
She said she started running as soon as he made a motion toward her. When he saw her run up the steps of her house, he jumped back in the car and took off.
Well, how come she didn't call in before this?
She hasn't got a phone. She's afraid to leave the house again until this morning.
Sounds good, Chief. You got her address there?
Here you are. Mrs. Tom Burdick, 1237 Wilcox, apartment 10.
Come on, Ben. This might be what we're looking for.
Who is it? Who's there?
Sergeant Friday, ma'am. Police.
Oh, just a moment.
I'm Sergeant Romero, Miss Birdie. This is my partner, Sergeant Friday. We come out to check on your call about that little trouble last night.
Oh, well, I don't know if I'm going to be much help to you. I was so frightened about all I could do was just run.
Well, could you add anything to the man's description, Miss Burdick? I mean, other than what you told the chief on the phone?
Well, now, honestly, I don't think I can. All I saw was this tall, dark man jumping out of his car and starting for me. He had a heavy build and seemed to me, well, a large head with lots of long black hair.
Miss Burdick, would you recognize this man if you ever saw him again?
Well, I think I might. He was such an unusually big man, almost frightened me to death.
Well, just one more question, Miss Burdick. Could you describe the car this man was driving when he approached you?
His car?
Mm-hmm.
Why, yes. It was a gray convertible.
Miss Burdick, are you sure of that?
Yes, I'm sure of it. A gray convertible.
Thank you, Miss Burdick. That's all we wanted to know. Sometimes when you're on a case, you can chase yourself around in circles for weeks trying to fit together just two little pieces of a yard-long jigsaw puzzle. And a lot of the time, you find the answer where you least expect it. But once you get that feeling you're after the right man in the right way, there's nothing that can shake you. When Ben and I got back to headquarters, we went straight to the chief's office with the story, and we had him stake out the gray convertible. In other words, if any detective or officer spotted the car, he reported it back to us, but he stayed away from it. We figured that there probably weren't more than two of the victims who could take the witness stand and identify the man who robbed and beat them. Not with a smart defense lawyer, anyway. So there was only one way to catch this suspect. Red-handed.
Here they are, Joe. Both sets of license numbers for that gray convertible. Here are the original, and here are the numbers on the stolen plate.
Good. Everybody got a hot sheet?
From the chief all the way down to the janitor.
Fine. Now let's get together with Ed, huh?
Hot shot, Joe. Grab it.
I got it.
On the corner of California and Oakwood, a woman badly beaten. On the corner of California and Oakwood, a woman badly...
Come on, Ben, another one.
But, Joe, it's broad daylight.
Yeah, doesn't figure, does it? Come on.
That vacant lot over there, Joe.
Two plainclothesmen and uniformed officers were keeping the crowd back. An ambulance was drawn up by the curb, but it was empty. When we got down to the rear of the lot, we found out why. They were waiting for the coroner. The woman was young, not much more than 30. Her body was half sprawled across the muddy ground, and her face was turned upward. It had been badly beaten.
They figured it happened last night, Sergeant.
Have the fingerprint men been notified?
Yeah.
How about the crime lab?
Just called them.
That's good. Now, let's keep everybody out of the area till they get here.
Right, Sergeant.
Who found the body?
One of the kids in the neighborhood. The woman was dead when he found her.
Did she live around here?
About a half mile away. I hear she's got 3 kids. Or she had 3 kids.
Uh-huh. You've seen enough, Ben?
Yeah. Let's get on back to headquarters.
All the way back to headquarters, Ben and I planned our next move. And by the time we got to Ed Backstrand's office, we knew exactly what had to be done. When we told him about the werewolf murder, he didn't say a thing for a minute. He just stared across the room at the calendar on the wall. And then he brought his hand down hard against the desk.
Friday, Romero, I'm only going to say this once, so get it straight. That guy's pulled his last job in this city. He's through robbing and beating women, and he's through with murder. I've given you time to track him down, and now I want him in. No stalls and no excuses. I want him. I don't care how many men you use, and I don't care how you get him, but get him. That's all.
Ben and I worked all that afternoon, right through dinner, up until 8 o'clock. By that time, the overall plan was down on paper and already in action. It was one of the biggest things we'd ever tackled, and, well, we didn't know if it was going to work. We only knew it had to work. We had a squad of 65 cars to stretch out over 40 square miles of the city in one big dragnet. The blockade itself would be stationary most of the time, and working inside it would be 2 cars 14 policewomen as decoys, with 2 plainclothesmen assigned to watch each policewoman. If and when the werewolf was sighted in the gray convertible, we'd automatically take over the police radio for the whole city, and Backstrand would direct the chase from headquarters. A little after 8, we had coffee and hamburgers, and we went to Ben's for a few hours. Ben tucked his kid in bed as usual, and then he laid down for a nap. I talked to his wife until I dozed off in the chair. At 11:30, she woke us up. I combed my hair and put on my coat. Cops' wives are like everybody else's. They worry. When we met Ed at headquarters, we did some last-minute checking on details with Backstrand for about a half an hour, and then we were all ready to go. By 5 minutes past 2, half the Dragnet crew pulled out of the police garage and scattered over the city to their places. By 2:35, the other half pulled out, and a few minutes later, Ben and I followed. At 3 minutes to 3 that morning, Backstrand took over communications and checked every car in the operation.
Standby. 617.
It was a good start. Every man in his right place by the right time. The trap was set. All we needed now was to find our suspect, the werewolf, inside.
Control 4 to Unit 80K. Control 4 to Unit 80K.
80K to Control 4. Go ahead.
This is Backstrand, standing by.
80K, roger. Clear. KGPL. Okay, Ben. Now let's go find him.
I got a hunch, Joe. Let's try the Wilshire district first.
Sounds all right to me. Let's go. For the first hour and a half, we raked the Wilshire district back and forth. Not a sign. Then about 38 minutes past 4, we headed back for the downtown area and parked in an alley where we could double-check on one of our policewomen decoys.
Here comes one of the gals now, Joe. Pat Field. Bet her feet are almost as tarred as mine.
Did you see anything else, Ben?
Nothing. Quiet as a church. No, wait a minute. Car just turned the corner. Heading up in the same direction she is. Joe. Joe, it's slowing down. Wait a minute. It's pulling up beside her. It's a gray convertible. It's him, Joe. Come on.
Ben, get out. He sees us. He's got a gun. You all right, Ben? Yeah, look at that guy take off. 80K to Control 4. 80K to Control 4.
Control 4 to Unit 80K. Go ahead.
We've spotted the suspect. He's driving a gray Ford convertible, license 61 Robert 385. Suspect's headed east on Olympic from Alameda, driving without lights. Suspect is armed. He had a fast car and he knew how to drive it. We almost lost him twice. 2 minutes after we sighted him, Backstrand took over full radio control.
Control 4 to Unit 80K. Your location?
80K to Control 4. We're traveling at a high rate of speed, headed east on Olympic, crossing Soto Street.
Control 4 to all units. Stand by. Units 11A, 12, and 13R close in on the intersections at Olympic and Lorena. Units 41, 42, 45, and 104K move in on the next 4 crossings east of that. To the north and south, units 105K, 14A, 17R, 43T. Block all main arteries.
In the next half hour, the 65 cars in the dragnet had pulled in like a noose around a 5-mile area. Ben and I hoped it was just a matter of time. Unit 80K to Control 4.
Control 4 to 80K, go ahead.
He's headed north on Fresno Street, crossing Whittier Boulevard.
Attention all units. 80K now pursuing suspect north on Fresno from Whittier Boulevard. Units 15, 105K, 11R, and 18A block off the intersection on Fresno and 4th.
Hey, Ben, up there ahead. What's he trying to do now? Look, he's turning around.
Yeah, and he's coming right for us. Watch it, Joe. Look out!
Pretty close. 80K to Control 4.
Control 4 to 80K, go ahead.
Exchanging shots with suspect. Watch it, Ben. Here he comes again. Sure likes to use that gun, doesn't he?
Sure does. Hey, Joe, look. Look, he's turning east. He's running for Hollenbeck Park.
Yeah, 80K to Control 4.
Control 4, go ahead.
Suspect just drove up over curb and into Hollenbeck Park.
Control 4 to all units. Control 4 to all units. Converge on Hollenbeck Park. Suspect is in the park. He's armed. Use caution. Code 3.
Looks like a night baseball game with only his headlights.
Yeah, come on, let's get him.
Yeah. Never say die, huh, Joe? Joe, can you get a shot at him?
Don't shoot! Don't shoot! I'll give up! Don't shoot!
Then step out in the open and get your hands in the air.
All right, I give up. But don't shoot.
You're a brave killer. Yeah, come on. All right, you get your hands in the air. Come on, higher.
Joe, look out. He's got a knife.
I got him.
Joe, those women were right. He does look like a werewolf.
Yeah. You got your handcuffs?
Yeah.
Okay. Got a cigarette?
I've been out for an hour. Little place across the street. Maybe we can get some there.
Okay. There's the crew from the 41R. Hey, fellas, take him into robbery, will you?
Okay, Friday.
I think there's a vending machine in there.
Uh-huh. Say, you got some change for the cigarette machine, mister?
I think so. Say, who was that guy all them cops were after over in the park a little while ago?
I picked up the werewolf. Been reading the papers?
Yeah. You fellas cops?
Yeah.
Sure made it easy for you, didn't he? All you cops had to do was surround the little fella in the park. Nothing to it, huh?
Yeah, that's right, mister. Nothing to it.
The story you have just heard was true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent.
Walter Barton, known as the werewolf, was tried and convicted and is now serving a full life sentence at the state penitentiary. This has been Dragnet, the third in a new series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice for Dragnet comes from the office of C.B. Horrell, Chief of Police, Los Angeles Police Department.
Tonight's program is dedicated to Sergeant Mario Victor Dairo of the Los Angeles Police Department, who, on the morning of January 1st, 1943, gave his life so that yours might be more secure.
Dragnet came to you from Los Angeles. This is NBC, the national broadcasting company.
I'd like to tell you folks about Kraft's golden cheese food, Velveeta. Velveeta is such good eating. Just taste that grand, rich, yet mild cheddar cheese flavor. And Velveeta is so good for you. It's rich in important food values from milk itself. For swell-tasting snacks, for good hearty sandwiches, for thrifty, easy hot dishes, it's smart to keep stocked with Velveeta. Get it tomorrow in the handy quarter-pound package or in the economical 2-pound loaf. The cheese food of top quality. Velveeta is made only by Kraft.
And now, Gangbusters! Gangbusters, presented in cooperation with police and federal law enforcement departments throughout the United States. The only national program that brings you authentic police case histories.
J. Valentine, former commissioner of the largest police force in the world, takes over for Gangbusters to interview by proxy Sheriff T.L. Head of Tunica County, Mississippi. Commissioner Valentine.
Commissioner Head, the notorious criminal, Valansky, has been front-page news within the past 3 weeks, and we're all very anxious to hear the inside facts.
Well, Commissioner Valentine, in the spring of 1940,
Stanley Belansky and his partner, James K. Tillotson, were two of the trickiest gunmen at large. Using the names of Robert Hack and James Stewart, they stopped at a fashionable inn at Laconia, New Hampshire, and posed as sons of very wealthy families.
How about it? Another demi-task, Belansky?
Will you cut out that Belansky stuff? Registered here as Hack and Stewart. Somebody will hear you.
Okay. Oh, but what a hotel. A dining terrace overlooking a mountain lake. Yes, sir. Home was never like this back at the penitentiary.
Oh, stop the gagging.
Okay.
Here. There's something in the newspaper that might interest you.
Let's see. Wells Beach, Maine. Local store robbed by 2 masked gunmen. Now, I wonder who they could be. You know, you'd think those guys would learn that crime don't pay.
Yeah. Wouldn't you? Oh, come on. Come on, let's go.
Now, we ain't had no dessert yet.
I said, come on. Okay, here. Lean against the rail like this, kind of casual like.
What for?
Did you see those 2 girls just finishing dinner across the pavilion?
I'll say a couple of dollars.
Well, one of them is Martha Sanford, an old New England family.
Yeah?
Yeah.
How do you know?
I checked on her this afternoon. She and her girlfriend are going to be our first bit of camouflage.
Oh, boy. Imagine being camouflaged with them. Camouflage me all over, brother.
Oh, shut up. Just take along with whatever I say.
I think it's just horrid your mother and Dad want to drag me off to Bar Harbor.
Yes, I wish I could stay on here with you, Martha.
Anyway, it won't be for another 2 weeks.
I beg your pardon, but aren't you Martha Sanford?
Why, yes.
I guess you don't remember me. So many fellows were giving you the rush at Dartmouth last winter.
Oh, were you at Dartmouth that week?
Yeah. I guess I didn't make much of an impression, though. My name is Hack, Bobby Hack.
Bobby Hack. Were you in the ski jumping contest?
No, I was just a spectator, but, well, Jimmy here, he tried to break his neck in the ski jump.
Me?
Oh, I'm sorry, Miss Sanford. This is Jimmy Stewart.
How do you do? And this is Julie Harris.
How do you do? Hello, Miss Harris. Well, you girls seem to be going somewhere. It was nice meeting you again, though, and perhaps we'll see you now that we're all here at the resort together.
I don't see why not.
Well, that'll be fine. Well, goodbye, Miss Sanford. It's been a pleasure, Miss Harris.
Yeah, me too.
Goodbye.
Well, goodbye.
Look, for Pete's sake, will you cut out that Me Too stuff?
My Belansky, what did you let him get away for? We could have dated him easy.
There's no rush. No rush at all. We won't pull another job until next week. Then we'll use him proper.
Attention, squad room. Report from Cambridge, Massachusetts on warehouse robbery. 2 gunmen believed heading this direction in black Buick, Massachusetts license, heavily armed and dangerous. All police be on alert for this car.
Come on, let's get in the car.